Chapter 5903. Lin Xian thought for a moment, then smiled. I also have an idea. Let's take a look at the ancient scriptures of other lands. Is that true? Kid, do you think so too? Good. We happen to be on the same wavelength. The toad said. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. There's no rush. Let's wait for Qingcheng and the others to come back first. Lin Xian looked into the distance of the sword world, his eyes flickering. He began to transmit his voice to the Murong Qingcheng, the Crimson Dragon, and the others. When those people received the news, they began to return from the depths of the sword world and gathered together. The Crimson Dragon came and roared, Damn, Toad, you broke through. The Toad said, I already have the body of a pseudo-emperor. Let me feel it. Its big claws slapped towards the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon's blood and chi churned. Stop, I can't beat you. He and the Hellfire Dragon were no match for the Toad, even if they worked together. The body of a pseudo-emperor was indeed strong. Toad, you're one step ahead. But don't worry, Ben Huang will also enter this realm one day. The Crimson Dragon was not discouraged. With this mysterious sword world, they all saw hope. Kid, hurry up and tell them. The Toad couldn't wait. Qingcheng and the others were also puzzled. Brother Xian, what's the matter? Lin Xian said, At this realm, the next level is the Great Emperor. So we want to read a few more ancient scriptures of the Great Emperor. I have the ancient scriptures of the Demon Emperor here, as well as the heaven-defying art that I created myself. Qingcheng, you should have the ancient scriptures of the Phoenix clan, right? And Rui, your Azure Emperor ancient scripture. I think everyone should take it out and study it together. Every great emperor was one of a kind. They were the strongest of their generation. These great emperors were all good at different fields. So the ancient scriptures they created were the strongest cultivation methods of each era. Reading other ancient scriptures of the great emperors would be of great help to their own great Tao. Okay, no problem. Yan Ryu took out the Azure Emperor ancient scripture. Murong Qingcheng took out the ancient Phoenix scripture. Lin Xian took out the Devil Emperor's inheritance. The inheritances of the three emperors shone brightly in the void. They were like books of the great Tao, filled with mysterious energy. The eyes of the Toad and the Crimson Dragon burned with passion. Just one of these things was enough to make all the worlds go crazy. And now, there were 3 successions of martial monarchs here. Let's all comprehend it together. Everyone sat down cross-legged. Lin Xian's eyes sparkled as he comprehended the ancient Phoenix scripture and the Azure Arch ancient scripture. Now that he had broken through, he was strong enough to fight against an immortal emperor. However, it wasn't enough. He wanted to become a true immortal emperor. Besides, he wanted the people around him to follow the same path and achieve the martial monarch realm too. Only then would he be able to fight Higan. As for whether there would be many great emperors in this era, Lin Xian didn't know, but he felt that it was possible. After all, with the 9 heavens and 10 earths, there might be a way. The ancient Phoenix scripture transformed into a phoenix that soared between heaven and earth. The powerful and mysterious power surprised Lin Xian. Phoenixes were not weaker than true dragons. They were also ancient divine beasts. The Phoenix clan was extremely powerful. Legend had it that they had the Phoenix Nirvana technique, which could allow them to be reborn when they were on the verge of death. Their strength would become even stronger. The ancient Phoenix village was indeed extraordinary. The Azure Arch ancient scripture was also extremely mysterious. The Azure Arch was also a super great emperor. Legend had it that after the ancient times, the power of heaven and earth became weaker and weaker, and it became more and more difficult to become a great emperor. However, the Azure Arch rose against the heavens, growing from a small lotus to a great emperor. Among the lost techniques created by the Azure Arch, there were some very famous ones, such as the Lotus Steps and the Azure Arch 9 Slashes. As for the Demon Emperor, he was even more mysterious. It was said that the demon emperor was very terrifying. He acted strangely and his methods were ruthless. How could he become a demon emperor if he wasn't crazy? Lin Xian had experienced the demon emperor's ancient scripture before. It was called the illusion demon scripture. His methods could be said to be extremely terrifying. When Morong Qingcheng and Yan Ryu read the demon emperor's ancient scripture, their little faces were a little pale. This ancient scripture was too terrifying and strange. It was not suitable for their great Tao. However, they still read it. Although the path that the devil emperor walked was not suitable for them, it could still give them inspiration. Among them, the toad was the most excited. The toad was now a pseudo-emperor. He had swallowed half of the frog. Therefore, he urgently needed these great emperors' cultivation techniques and experiences. After he finished reading, he said, "It's not enough. It's not small enough. Do you want us to go to the other great emperors' clans?" So arrogant. The Crimson Dragon jumped up. "However, I like the small ones. I also want to see the other great emperors' clans' inheritances. The Yi clan's heavenly emperor scripture and the Gu clan's void scripture were incomparably mysterious. Let's go. I'll take you there." Lin Xian did indeed have such thoughts. Furthermore, he now had the ability to do so. Legend had it that in the past, other great emperors had also read the ancient scriptures from the great emperors' clans. Now Lin Xian was preparing to do the same. First, Lin Xian was going to the Yi clan. Lin Xian and the Yi clan had a good relationship. Therefore, it should be fine. When Lin Xian arrived at the Yi clan, all the Yi clan members moved out to greet him respectfully. "Greetings, Lin Gongzi." Today's Lin Xian was no longer the young boy from back then. Now he could hunt down great emperors. Great success, divine body. This was an existence comparable to great emperors. How could they be careless? They were all extremely respectful. Looking at those old figures, Lin Xian said, "Everyone, there's no need to be so polite. Why did Lin Gongzi and the others come to our clan?" The Yi clan leader asked cautiously. Lin Xian said, "Indeed, there is something." He didn't try to hide anything. Instead, he went straight to the point. "I'm here to borrow the heavenly emperor scripture." "What?" The Yi clan leader was stunned. The Yi clan experts also sucked in a breath of cold air. It turned out to be this. Lin Xian said, "Everyone, don't worry. I'm just borrowing the scripture. In the future, when Wu Dao tries to break through to the great emperor realm, I will lend him other scriptures. He can choose the Phoenix ancient scripture, the Azure Emperor ancient scripture, or the Demon Emperor ancient scripture." Lin Xian and Yi Wudao were friends. Although they hadn't seen each other for a long time, this little help was no problem. "Lin Gongzi, you're too polite. We understand helping each other." However, the heavenly emperor scripture was in Wu Dao's hands. Wu Dao wasn't at home now, so Lin Gongzi probably couldn't see it for the time being. The Yi clan leader knew that Lin Xian, who had a great success divine body, would definitely borrow the scripture, because in the past there had been a great emperor who had borrowed the Yi clan scripture and left after a few glances. Therefore, Lin Xian wasn't the first. It was just that Yi Wudao really wasn't there. Lin Xian was stunned. "Where is Wu Dao now?" The Yi clan leader smiled bitterly. "We don't know. We don't know." The Crimson Dragon said, "How can that be? Yi Wudao is also a divine body, the hope of your Yi clan. How can you not know?" The Yi clan leader shook his head and sighed. "We've always been in contact with Wu Dao and paid attention to his movements. However, half a year ago, news of Wu Dao suddenly disappeared. Until now, his whereabouts are still unknown. Aren't you worried?" the toad asked. The Yi clan leader said, "His soul jade tablet didn't break, so I think he must have had a fortuitous encounter." Chapter 5904. So that's how it is. Lin Xian nodded. Understand. Then I'll take my leave. If there's news of Wu Dao, we'll discuss this matter again. Lin Xian stood up and prepared to leave with everyone. They respectfully sent off Lin Gongzi. The Yi family bowed in unison. Lin Xian soared into the air, but stopped when he was midair. Right? I have a question. Lin Gongzi, is there anything else? The Yi family patriarch asked. Lin Xian said, many great emperors have awakened from their ancient slumber. The Yi family's celestial emperor senior should be extremely powerful among great emperors. He shouldn't be dead. Could it be that he hasn't awakened yet? Haven't you looked for him? The Yi family patriarch said, of course we have. However, there's a clue that Yi Wu Dao is pursuing. He disappeared half a year ago. We suspected that it might be related to the celestial emperor. Understood. I'll wait for him to return. Lin Xian left with his people. The Yi family's ancient scriptures aren't here. Where should we go? The Gu family? The Qilin family? Or the Kunpeng family? There were many great emperor families, but the merciless passage of time didn't necessarily mean that all of them had been passed down. Besides, even if they were passed down, many of them would be broken. After all, Lin Xian had seen many great emperors. If these great emperors had families, the number would be shocking. However, there didn't seem to be so many great emperor families in the universe. Lin Xian had asked along. Some great emperors didn't have families at all. Some great emperors did, but later on, they were destroyed. After all, the Permitha had descended more than once. Every time it descended, it would set off a storm. Moreover, there were still living supremes who were secretly making moves. Therefore, even great emperor families didn't have a high chance of surviving. Lin Xian gradually felt this point. The Permitha had begun to make moves crazily. It began to target the top geniuses, suppressing them and bringing them back to nurture. As for the other families and sects, it was crazily collecting resources. Under such power, even a living great emperor might not be able to withstand it, not to mention those clans. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He said, next, let's go to the Kunpeng clan. The Kunpeng great emperor possessed yin and yang. Lin Xian's god body had reached the level of major success, but his other abilities had yet to reach the level of 10-crown king. For example, his Tai Chi diagram was extremely useful. If he could improve its power, it would further improve his strength. Therefore, Lin Xian wanted to see the Kunpeng great emperor's ancient scriptures to increase the power of the Taiji diagram. When Lin Xian arrived at the Kunpeng tribe, the people of the Kunpeng tribe were on high alert. Lin Gongzi, have we offended you recently? The Kunpeng patriarch was on the verge of tears. They had all witnessed Lin Xian's strength. To be able to hunt down a great emperor in the myriad worlds, this strength was too frightening. Kunpengzi was also there. At this moment, his face was pale. He remembered that when he first saw Lin Xian, he was still high and mighty, looking down on him. But now, Lin Xian had grown to the point where he could only look up to him. This made him feel fear and despair. Lin Xian directly stated his intention. He wanted to see the Kunpeng great emperor's ancient scriptures. Kunpengzi's pupils shrank. The people of the Kunpeng family were also pale. Would they dare to refuse? They were afraid that even if they gathered the strength of their families, they would still be no match for Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, I won't treat you badly. I also have ancient scriptures. We can exchange them." Really? Kunpengzi was stunned. Lin Xian was so polite and kind. Lin Xian said, "We are all from the myriad worlds. We should work together to fight against the otherworld heavenly king." Yes, Lin Gongzi was right. The Kunpeng patriarch nodded quickly. He smiled and said, "Why don't you thank Lin Gongzi?" The entire Kunpeng family hurriedly bowed. "Thank you, Lin Gongzi." Lin Xian said, "No, we are just helping each other." Then, Lin Xian took out the demon emperor's ancient scripture. The Kuan-Pung family took out the Kuan-Pung ancient scripture. The two ancient scriptures bloomed in the air. The Kuan-Pung ancient scripture turned into the appearance of a Kuan-Pung. The aura of yin and yang fell, shocking everyone. It was extremely mysterious. Murong Chingcheng and the others also looked serious. The toad, the crimson dragon, and the others even widened their eyes. To be honest, Kuan-Pung's strength was not as strong as theirs. The Kuan-Pung family was also declining. This made them look down on them. But now when they saw the Kuan-Pung ancient scripture, they all dismissed this idea. The Kuan-Pung great emperor was too strong. His yin and yang supernatural power seemed to have connected the two worlds. It was just that no one in the Kuan-Pung family had been able to cultivate it. Lin Xian was overjoyed. The laws of yin and yang and the Tai Chi diagram had many similarities. Therefore, Lin Xian directly used the yin-yang diagram. He sat cross-legged on the Tai Chi diagram and began to observe the Kuan-Pung bone essence. 10 days later, Lin Xian stood up and said, "Thank you." He had some enlightenment. On the other side, the Kuan-Pung family and the others also hurriedly bowed. They also looked away. The demon emperor's ancient scripture was also incomparably exquisite. Moreover, it was strange and ever-changing. It was an eye-opener for them. Next, Lin Xian asked about the Kuan-Pung great emperor. After all, this was also an extremely terrifying great emperor. Kuan-Pung said, "There is no news for the time being. But in the past 2 years, our bloodline has been beating and boiling from time to time, as if there is an ancient summon. We guess that this might be related to the great emperor." Lin Xian was surprised, the change in the bloodline. Perhaps the Kuan-Pung great emperor is really not dead. I hope to see him one day. Lin Xian waved his hand and bade farewell to them. Then they left and did not continue their journey. Previously, when they read the yin-yang ancient scripture, they had some enlightenment about Lin Xian. Therefore, they prepared to enter seclusion for 3 months and set off after 3 months. Lin Xian sat in the sword world and used the Tai Chi diagram with both hands. The aura of yin and yang surrounded him, one hard and one soft. It was extremely mysterious. Lin Xian cultivated the 9 yang divine body, which was invincible. However, it was too high and lacked softness. Now that he had comprehended the Tai Chi diagram, Lin Xian had an additional softness. This was not weakening the hardness, but making it even more terrifying. 3 months later, Lin Xian went to the Qilin family. The Qilin family was first shocked, then excited. Lin Xian did not directly seize the ancient scripture of the earth. Instead, he chose to lend it to each other. This surprised them. They decisively took out the Qilin ancient scripture. Lin Xian and the others read it. The Qilin family also read the demon emperor's ancient scripture. The Kuan-Pung great emperor's yin and yang transformation was incomparably terrifying. As for the Qilin great emperor, he walked the path of fierceness, which was somewhat similar to the 9 yang divine body. Qilin fire, Qilin arm, swept through the 9 heavens. This was a great emperor like a god of war. Therefore, Lin Xian was even more excited. His 9 yang divine body could corroborate with the Qilin ancient scripture. In addition to him, Murong Chingcheng, the crimson dragon, and the others also gained something. They also corroborated with their ancient scriptures to increase their strength. Half a month later, Lin Xian and the others left again. After another 3 months of cultivation, Lin Xian's 9 yang divine body became even more mysterious. Next was the Gu family. Lin Xian was ready to set off. The ancient void scripture was even more mysterious. Moreover, it was a spatial ability. It was something that Lin Xian and the others had been yearning for a long time. Chapter 5905. Hidden Emperor's Star, Mount Eternal. This place was incomparably dark and had an indestructible power. It was a forbidden land for life in the eyes of everyone. At this moment, There were countless figures standing in Mount Eternal. These people were wearing black robes, and standing there, they seemed to be waiting for something. Suddenly, the ancient altar in front of them shook. Immediately after, a figure seemed to have walked through the universe and appeared above the 9 heavens. Then, it slowly descended towards the altar. He appeared. The powerhouses on Mount Eternal were so excited that they trembled. The leading old man knelt down on one knee. Greetings, Supreme. Greetings, Supreme. Countless people knelt down one after another, their faces full of excitement. A middle-aged man appeared in front of them. His black hair danced wildly, and his eyes were even more terrifying. His body carried an indestructible aura, and he was extremely powerful. He was the Immortal Supreme. "How is the matter that I instructed you to do?" The Immortal Supreme said in a deep voice. The old man in front said, reporting to Supreme, "We are ready to move at any time. Well, now that I am in the heavens, I need a lot of power, and I need a weapon. Go to the Goof family, and bring me the Void battle robe." Yes, the leading old man stood up, then he waved his hand, and led the crowd away quickly. At this moment, Mount Eternal opened, and endless black powerhouses with an indestructible aura soared into the sky. The nearby families and sects felt this scene, and were extremely frightened. "Heavens, what is that?" "It's a forbidden land for life." There are powerhouses coming out of the forbidden land for life. Isn't it too unbelievable? There were many families and sects in the Mount Eternal area, and the Goof family was not far from here. Therefore, not long after, the old man arrived with his people, looking at the mountain range below, the corners of his mouth raised, and then he slapped out with his palm. The black palm covered the sky and the earth, directly shattering the mountain range below. The earth cracked and the void shattered. It was a scene of apocalypse. In the mountain range below, there were some families and sections. They were the subordinates of the Goof family. However, at this moment, they did not have time to escape and were immediately shattered, their bodies and souls destroyed. Blood dyed the earth red. A group of ants. The black-robed old man sneered. Behind him was Mount Eternal. The people behind him also laughed. "Elder is mighty. How could trash like them be mentioned in the same breath as us?" One of the young men even shouted coldly, "The people below listen up. Have the Goof family's people roll out." His voice resonated in all directions. Even the people in the distance were astonished. What? Were these people targeting the Goof family? The Goo clan was a great emperor clan. Others said, "Didn't you see?" These people possessed indestructible power. They were from Mount Eternal, a forbidden land of life. It seemed that the forbidden land of life was going to make a move against the great emperor's clan. He wondered if the Goo family would be able to withstand it. Countless voices discussing the Tao resounded. Someone said, "Definitely, the Goo clan was a clan that had produced a great emperor. Moreover, they had spatial divine powers." How powerful was that? Right after he said those words, a spatial crack appeared in the mountain range below. Then, a team walked out. Who was it? Daring to behave atrociously in the Goo clan. Were they courting death? These were the guards of the Goo family. Their Goo family was proficient in spatial mystiques, so they had opened up a space in this mountain range. They lived in a small space, and at this moment, the destruction of the mountain range outside the space naturally alarmed them. So they sent people over. Courting death? Are you challenging us? In the sky, the powerhouses of the Eternal Clan made their move. A large hand descended from the sky and enveloped these guards. Damn it. These guards roared angrily and tore open the void, trying to dodge. However, it was useless. With a single palm, he killed all of the guards. The people in the distance were stunned. Were they all dead? A rain of blood fell from the sky. The Goo family's divine powers were completely useless. In the sky, the people of Mount Eternal sneered. The people of the Goof family were really trash. Do you think you can be arrogant in front of us just because you know some spatial laws? Hurry up and tell the patriarch of the Goof family to come out. All kinds of disdainful voices sounded. In the Goof family's spatial world, those powerhouses naturally received the news. Immediately, their brows furrowed tightly. Mount Eternal, a forbidden land of life. How arrogant. Did they really think that there was no one else in the Goof family? Damn it, they had to be taught a lesson. Those powerhouses were furious. Some of them had cultivated in the deity ground, and their strength had greatly increased. A young genius said, "Patriarch, let me go and teach him a lesson. I'll go teach him a lesson. I want him to know our strength." This person was called Goulet. He was unusually excited. His figure turned into the void and rushed out in an instant. The people of Mount Eternal outside were still sneering. Suddenly, the void cracked open and endless lightning fell, enveloping them. These lightning bolts were extremely strange and carried the power of space. So, they instantly pierced through the bodies of many people. Some people of Mount Eternal screamed and flew out, blood dripping into the sky. Damn it! Who was it? Who dared to sneak attack us? Damn it! Elder, avenge us! Those people were extremely miserable. In the sky, a man walked out and shouted coldly, "I am Goulet of the Goof family. You looked down on the Goof family before. This is the price." What? It's the Goof family. Damn it. The injured people of Mount Eternal roared. Those in the distance also exclaimed, "I told you, the Goof family is a great emperor family. How could there be no one?" They had also sent many people to the deity ground before. These people's strength had greatly increased when they came back. This Goulet was one of the best. "Who dares to fight me one-on-one?" Goulet shouted coldly. "I'll do it," on the side of Mount Eternal. A man also walked out. He had a pair of black wings on his back. He was a black bat, and his strength was also extremely terrifying. He rushed over, bringing with him an endless eternal storm. The two of them fought, and all kinds of laws emerged one after another. Goulet appeared and disappeared unpredictably. All kinds of terrifying lightning surged over. And this black bat was also amazing. Once the storm was released, it was enough to crush the void. The two of them were evenly matched, which shocked countless people. They were too powerful. However, at this moment, Goulet snorted coldly. He threw out a punch. At the same time, the sky cracked open, and a lightning god descended, directly hitting the black bat's wing. One of the black bat's wings was pierced, and his body fell from the sky. He was extremely miserable. However, he opened his mouth and spat out a black spear. The indestructible spear also shot towards Goulet. Goulet used his spatial divine ability to dodge, but he was still hit by this power and spat out blood. Were they both injured? Both of them were injured. Those in the distance were terrified. Even many families of the hidden Emperor Star were alarmed and came to investigate. When they saw this scene, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Some people of the House of the Ancients were terrified. Was the dark battle about to come? Tens of thousands of years ago, the forbidden land of life had issued a kind of battle to the universe. It was a dark battle. At that time, everyone was terrified and desperate. The entire universe seemed to have become a hell. Even those great emperor families were attacked. Unexpectedly, the dark battle would come again. Chapter 59:06. Good boy, you can actually injure me. Black Bat gritted his teeth. Goulet roared angrily and rushed over again. Void lightning. His entire body disappeared. Then it suddenly appeared and turned into endless lightning bolts that crazily fell. Damn it. The eternal wind turned into heaven and earth. Black Bat also attacked, and a terrifying black storm confronted it. However, he was still beaten miserably. The void lightning was too terrifying. It split his body open, and even his bones were exposed. Damn it! Black Bat was seriously injured and wanted to escape. Goulet roared, and lightning appeared in the void. Then, a terrifying spatial blade appeared in his hand. With the destructive power of lightning, it split the Black Bat in half. Black Bat's soul was destroyed. Was he dead? Everyone was shocked. The people of the Gu family were too powerful. As expected of a great emperor family, they were really strong. The people of the Hidden Emperor's Star exclaimed. They were happy. After all, the forbidden land of life was too terrifying. No one wanted the other party to become stronger. As for the people of Mount Eternal, their eyes were red. He was dead. An expert on their side was dead. Unforgivable. Elder, please make a move and kill him. Elder, you must kill him. The black-clothed elder's face also sank. He didn't expect Black Bat to die. You really don't know what death is. He slapped out with his palm. The terrifying palm covered the sky and the earth as it attacked Goulet. Goulet's face changed drastically. He wanted to dodge, but it was useless. In an instant, he was penetrated. At the critical moment, he used the Gu family's great divine ability, soul traversal. However, he was still beaten into a bloody mist. Not only that, but this palm also hit the distance. The void expanded, and a spatial gate appeared. The people of the Gu family also changed their faces. From the spatial gate, the experts of the Gu family kept coming out. Goulet, how are you? Damn it, you actually killed him? These people roared crazily. Stop. Humph. I'll let you know how powerful I am today. The black-clothed elder attacked again. He punched out. Damn it, attack. The experts of the Gu family roared and attacked one after another. However, they didn't expect this black-clothed elder to be so powerful. The Gu clan's experts were beaten to the point where they vomited blood. A few of them were even directly pierced through, their hearts and souls extinguished. How could he be so powerful? The people of the Gu family went crazy. You're 9-crown king. Damn 9-crown king. You actually came here. The people of the Gu clan were filled with despair. This time, many of them had broken through to the quasi-emperor realm after entering the deity land to cultivate. However, the difference between a quasi-emperor and the 9-crown king was too great. It was like the difference between heaven and earth. They simply could not resist. On the Hidden Emperor's Star, the people from the other clans and sects felt their scalps go numb. What? It was actually 9-crown king. It can't be, right? This was the strongest under the Emperor realm. It was over. The Gu family was going to be unlucky this time. No. The Gu family still had the Void Emperor's extreme weapon, which might be able to block it. Sure enough, the Gu clan's clan chief roared and took out the Void Mirror. A mirror appeared, and the might of the extreme Tao spread out in all directions. It swept across the universe. Only then did the Gu family members heave a sigh of relief. Your Mount Eternal has gone too far. That's right. Do you really think that our Gu family is easy to bully? The foundation of a great emperor is not something you can imagine. Foundation? Humph, isn't it just an extreme Tao weapon? It can't do anything to me. The black-clothed elder sneered. He cupped his fists respectfully and said, Supreme weapon, please make your move. Boom. In the distance, a black ray of light flew past Mount Eternal and turned into a black sky steel. The aura released from the sky steel was also incomparably terrifying. As soon as it appeared, it attacked the void mirror. The two weapons exploded, and the universe collapsed. Everyone on the Hidden Emperor Star felt their scalps go numb as they looked over in horror. A battle between extreme Daos. What was going on? The Yi family, Kuanping clan, and Qilin clan were all stunned. This was the power of the void mirror. Could it be that the Gu family was in danger? These great emperor clans also felt their scalps go numb. The people of the divine union also felt it. Should they go and take a look? Bai Susu said, "No need. I've received news that Lin Xian and the others have gone." Had the alliance chief gone? Then it should be fine. They should be able to settle everything. Near Mount Eternal, the void was completely shattered. An extreme Dao attack was incomparably terrifying. The Gu family members' eyes widened. How was this possible? This black sky steel had actually blocked the attack of an extreme Dao weapon. Could it be that this was also an extreme Dao weapon? Humph, this is a supreme being weapon. Our supreme being is not weaker than the Void Emperor. Therefore, you can't do anything to me. The black-clothed elder said coldly, "Hand over the Void battle robe now. Otherwise, I'll destroy your Gu family." Void battle robe? What was that? Countless people were puzzled. Even the ordinary disciples of the Gu family were confused. However, the Gu family leader's expression changed. "You actually know about this? It's useless. Don't even think about it. The Void battle robe is the battle robe worn by the Void Emperor of the Gu family. It's the glory of the Gu family. Even if we die, we won't hand it over. If you don't want to hand it over, then die." The black-clothed elder walked out. Without the threat of the Void mirror, he attacked powerfully. With a punch, he forced the Gu family members to retreat. The Gu family members roared and set up a formation. They entered the spatial world and activated the Void formation. They blocked the Black Fist. The black-clothed elder also mobilized the power of Mount Eternal, the endless black mountain pressed down. These were two top sections. The battle was terrifying to the extreme. "It's useless. This is the Great Emperor's formation. You can't break it at all," the Gu family members said. As soon as they finished speaking, a palm from Mount Eternal slapped over and directly cracked the Gu family's Great Emperor's formation. Impossible? The Great Emperor's formation was shattered by someone. What kind of person was it? The black-clothed elder laughed. "Ha, it's our sovereign. Hurry up and hand it over. Otherwise, if you anger the sovereign, he'll slap you to death." He charged over from the crack and instantly tore apart the body of the Gu family's powerhouse. Blood dyed the spatial world red. No, the Gu family members went crazy. They were in despair. The other party was like a giant dragon sweeping across them. They had no way to fight back. "Quickly call back the Void mirror. Let's escape." The Gu family's leader made a decision and quickly called back the Void mirror. The power of the Void mirror revolved around them. Where could they go if they wanted to break through the Void? The indestructible suppression. The black stone tablet suppressed this world. "It's useless. You can't escape at all. Let's see who dares to save you. Since you don't hand over the Void battle robe, I'll let the Gu family be completely destroyed. The Gu family members can all go to hell." The black-clothed elder walked over with killing intent. The Gu family members were in despair. The Gu family's leader also said, "Fight to the death." Their bloodlines were burning as if they had merged with the entire world. However, they were still no match for him. Was the Gu family really going to be destroyed from today onwards? The Gu family's leader closed his eyes. "Ancestor, I'm unfilial and can't protect the Gu family. But the Gu family will never surrender. Fight, even if there's only one person left. Even if there's only one drop of blood left, we won't surrender. Stupid. How dare you fight against my Mount Eternal? Idiot." The black-clothed elder sneered. "Let's see who can save you today." He was ready to kill. At this moment, a voice sounded between heaven and earth. "I can save him." Chapter 59:07. I can save the Gu family. A loud and clear voice rang out. Everyone was stunned. Who was it? At this time, someone was standing up for the Gu family? The spectators were surprised. The Gu family was also stunned. Mount Eternal was indeed angry. "Humph, do you want to die? Saving the Gu family is going against Mount Eternal. Even if you have 10 lives, it won't be enough. I want to see who it is. The black-clothed elder sneered. In the next moment, everyone saw the sky and earth split open, and a figure walked out. It was Lin Wudy. The people on the hidden Emperor's Star cried out in alarm. The people from the Gu family were also stunned. Lin Wudy came to help them? It was too unbelievable. To be honest, their relationship with Lin Wudy was ordinary. They were even enemies before. Why would Lin Wudy save them? Lin Wudy, so it's you. The people of Mount Eternal were also shocked. The black-clothed elder snorted coldly. I'll catch you and bring you back. He stretched out a big hand and grabbed in front of him. Boom. Lin Xian punched out. This punch was simple and direct. There was no extra movement. A rumbling sound rang out, and the sky and earth shattered. The black-clothed elder screamed, and his soul was destroyed. He was dead. The others of Mount Eternal were stunned. The black-clothed elder, Nine-Crowned King, was extremely powerful. Previously, he had suppressed the Gu family until they couldn't raise their heads. But now, he was killed with a single punch. Not even a trace of him was left. It was too fast. In just a second, an expert who laughed proudly and the world fell just like that. They couldn't react at all. Was he dead? The Gu family was also stunned. They had used all their strength to perish together with their enemy. Just like that, he was swatted to death by Lin Wudy like a fly. The people of the hidden Emperor's Star were shocked. Previously, when they heard that Lin Wudy was chasing after the great emperor, they didn't believe it. Now it seems that it's true, that Sun-like God of War was him. His divine body had already reached the level of great success. Lin Xian killed Nine-Crowned King, like he was killing an ant. He said, "Too weak. Let your supreme being come out." How dare you? Do you think you can see a supreme being just because you wanna? The people of Mount Eternal roared. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with an extremely cold light. It turned into sharp blades that pierced through the heavens and earth. In an instant, the thousands of experts of Mount Eternal were all annihilated. Blood rained down from the sky, but the inextinguishable aura did not bring these people back to life. Are they all dead? Everyone's eyelids twitched. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. He looked into the distance and said in a low voice, "Immortal supremacy, get out here." Since they wanted to take advantage of the Gu family, they should do it themselves. If you're afraid, come out and kowtow to me 3 times and become my subordinate. I'll let you live. These words were too arrogant. That was the supreme being of Mount Eternal, a supreme existence. Tens of thousands of years ago, he fought in the darkness and swept through the universe. But now, Lin Xian was not even in his eyes. Humph! Lin Wudy, are you challenging me? In the distance, endless radiance erupted from Mount Eternal. A powerful force engulfed everything. A dark and tall figure walked out. What a powerful aura! The spectators trembled in fear. They kept retreating. Even the Gu family was facing a great enemy. They hurriedly summoned the Void Mirror and circled around them. There was no other way. This power was too strong. It had completely surpassed the Nine-Crowned King. It was almost the same as the Great Emperor. What kind of existence was the supremacy? Could Lin Wudy withstand it? At this moment, they were all worried for Lin Xian. Although Lin Xian was powerful, the supremacy was still a supreme being. However, supreme beings were incomparably ferocious after all. Furthermore, there had been a dark battle before. That was a character that only the great emperors could suppress. The tall man was like a demon god. He took a step forward, shaking the heavens and the earth. With a few steps, he arrived in the sky. He looked down at Lin Xian. He said, "Young man, I'm really surprised that you can achieve great success in your divine body. However, you're no match for me. Today, it's a grudge between me and the Gu family. I don't want to attack you. Kneel by the side. I'll deal with you after I get the Void Battle Robe." After Lin Xian heard this, he laughed out loud. You really think you're a great emperor? You think you're high and mighty? Just you? You want to deal with me? Do you have the ability? Humph! How can you imagine my strength? The immortal supremacy said coldly. Lin Xian laughed. Others don't know you, but I do. What supremacy? Isn't he just a fake emperor? Without the divine fire and immortal qi, he's just struggling to survive in this world. How big are you? What? The supremacy was a great emperor without the divine fire and immortal qi. Countless people were stunned. This was the first time they knew that this was the supremacy's secret. The immortal supremacy's pupils constricted. He didn't expect the other party to know this. I've really underestimated you. I didn't expect you to know such a secret. Since that's the case, then I can't let you live. I'll deal with you first, then destroy the Gu family. Deal with me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Lin Xian sneered. The divine fire on his body erupted, and the 9 yang divine body spread out. He was like the sun war god. The light was so bright that everyone was shocked. It was as if they were bowing to a god. Boom! Lin Xian punched out. Instantly, the sky shattered, and the earth cracked. Nothing could stop him. So powerful, everyone retreated. The people of the Gu family opened a spatial rift and entered it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to resist this power. He was courting death. Unexpectedly, Lin Xian dared to take the initiative to attack. The immortal supremacy was also angry. He slapped out with his palm. There was endless, indestructible power on it. It collided with Lin Xian's fist. An earth-shaking sound was heard, and the immortal supremacy retreated. He was surprised. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Humph! The immortal diagram. The immortal supremacy formed a seal with his palms. A black circle rushed out from his body and swept toward Lin Xian. There was a terrifying power on it that could suppress everything. Not good. After seeing it, the big families all exclaimed in surprise. The legendary immortal diagram. I remember that tens of thousands of years ago, when the darkness was fighting, this thing had once sealed a starry sky, causing countless worlds to disappear. Lin Gongzi, please don't be sealed by this black scroll. Seeing this black scroll, Lin Xian was also surprised. The strength of this immortal supremacy was even stronger than that of the previous spiritual supremacy. But so what? Lin Xian had seen several great emperors' ancient scriptures before, and his strength had also increased compared to before. He roared, endless light. Terrifying flames rushed out from his body, sweeping in all directions and illuminating the sky. The endless light fought against the pitch-black scroll. 9 yang divine fist. At the same time, he waved his fist, and the power was enough to move mountains and fill the sea. The void around the immortal supremacy kept shattering. He turned into a bolt of lightning and dodged quickly. He didn't take it head-on. However, the law on his palm was getting brighter and brighter. Stop it! Suddenly, a surge of energy came from the imperishable painting and froze Lin Xian in place. Then, the diagram enveloped Lin Xian. Chapter 59:08. Not good. He was enveloped. The great emperor families, watching the battle, also exclaimed. This way, Lin Xian was in danger. The people of the Gu family also exclaimed, not good. Lin Gongzi is in danger. Let's save him. Lin Xian ignored the danger and came to save them. Naturally, they wouldn't sit idly by. They were ready to use the void mirror to launch an extreme attack. However, the immortal supremacy punched at the Gu family. The people of the Gu family were beaten back. Although they had the protection of the void mirror, they were still injured. The people of Mount Eternal laughed out loud. Did you see that? This is the power of our supremacy. This Lin Wuti can't be compared to us at all. Even the great emperor families can't do it. Unless a real great emperor can compete with our supremacy. Just you? Not good enough. Arrogant voices rang out. They were immensely pleased with themselves. Previously, Lin Xian had attacked twice, scaring them silly. Now, such a powerful enemy had finally fallen. How could they not be happy? Could it be that they had really failed? The people of the other great emperor families were also stunned. Is the immortal supremacy so terrifying? Immortal supremacy, you are indeed strong. However, you are too naive to think that you can seal me with a painting. At this moment, Lin Xian's voice came from the immortal road ahead. Lin Xian was still alive. The people of the Gu family exclaimed, and the other spectators were also shocked. The people of Mount Eternal changed their expressions. Impossible. How can you still be alive? The immortal supremacy said, you can't come out. My immortal painting can refine you. He formed a seal with his palm. The immortal Dharma on the immortal painting rolled. However, Lin Xian said, it's useless. You are just a fake emperor. You can't kill me at all. After speaking, endless light from his body shot into the sky, the god of 9 suns. Lin Xian's body grew bigger and turned into a giant. He stood firmly between the heavens and earth and tore the scroll in half. Boom, the sight was simply too shocking. It was as if a god had descended from the heavens. Boundless flames swept across the entire area. It was so scary. They came out. 9 young divine body. Is this the great success divine body? It was too terrifying. He gave me the same feeling as the great emperor. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw this. Lin Xian tore the scroll into pieces and threw it into the void. He said, with your strength, it's impossible for you to kill me. The people of Mount Eternal were scared out of their wits. Even Mount Eternal's face was pale. His picture of indestructibility had been torn apart, and he had also sustained some injuries. However, he forcefully suppressed it and did not spit it out. However, he was incomparably shocked. This person's strength was beyond his imagination. From the looks of it, he had to use some tricks. The Taoist robe on his body fluttered, and his sleeves danced, covering the sky and the earth. Black sword chi rushed out from within. Indestructible sword. It had the power to destroy the heavens and the earth, cutting off the heaven and earth. This supreme divine ability was something that could be destroyed by a single strand of invincible sword chi during the dark battle. Hundreds of star realms were extremely powerful. The invincible sword chi's speed was extremely fast. In an instant, it came to Lin Xian's side and slashed down crazily. Lin Xian's fist was like the sun, sweeping in all directions and hitting the sword chi. A sonorous sound rang out like a clap of thunder. Everyone's ears were bleeding. He had actually blocked such a terrifying sword chi with his bare hands. The divine body was indeed strong. Boom! Lin Xian seemed to have turned into a bolt of lightning. He kept going out, hitting the black sword chi and shattering it. In the end, he was like a god of war, charging towards immortal supremacy. Immortal supremacy retreated, not fighting him head-on. However, at this moment, Lin Xian turned into a yang mirror and directly attacked. Immortal supremacy, who would have thought that the other party still had this move? In an instant, his body was pierced through, and a bloody hole appeared. Was he injured? Everyone was shocked. Immortal supremacy was actually injured. The people of Mount Eternal also went crazy. They couldn't believe it. Immortal supremacy retreated, his face pale. He looked at his wound and roared towards the sky. The inextinguishable power in his body quickly condensed and healed his wound. Damn brat, you actually dared to injure me. Unforgivable. I'll let you taste the price. Also, I'm an immortal and indestructible existence. I can't be killed. With a furious roar, he charged over with unparalleled power. This time, he was really angry. A pitch-black longsword formed in his hand. The inextinguishable power on it kept erupting. He danced, cutting through heaven and earth, and charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian, used the power of his divine body to fight against immortal supremacy. They were evenly matched. He was too strong. Lin Wuti could really contend against a supremacy. Countless people were shocked. Some people frowned. It was just a contest. It was impossible to defeat a supremacy, right? As soon as his voice fell, Lin Xian roared. He raised his right hand high, and 9 suns surrounded his arm. They merged into it. At this moment, Lin Xian's right hand was extremely bright. 9 yang palm. Boom. With a slap, it directly enveloped half of Immortal Supremacy's body. Half of Immortal Supremacy's body was reduced to ashes. He was seriously injured. The people of Mount Eternal were scared to tears. Had their supreme being been seriously injured? Unbelievable. Immortal Supremacy also roared angrily. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You're no match for me at all. Release your seal and restore your peak strength. Otherwise, you can't compare to me at all. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Immortal Supremacy didn't expect the other party to be so powerful. He could only release a part of the seal. A black rune condensed all over his body. In the next moment, his hands released the seal. Boom. There were black flames dancing on his hands. Immortal Supremacy actually walked the divine path. Boom. This pair of palms was much more powerful than before. It was terrifying to the extreme. Lin Xian was forced back. Did you see that, kid? This is my true strength. I've only unlocked a little business, and you can't resist it. What are you going to do next? What? The people of the Gu family were in despair. The others also exclaimed, unlocking the seal? Could it be that the current supremacy was the power of the seal? Heavens, this wasn't all of his strength. Was he strong to such an extent? If he went all out, how terrifying would he be? Everyone around started to worry. Lin Xian laughed heartily. The wounds on his body were instantly healed. The light shone even more brightly. He said, do you dare to unlock all of them? I know all of your secrets. After unlocking them, you won't be able to live for long. Lin Xian roared and activated the 9 Yang god to fight with him. He was like a god of war as he charged over. He fought against the other party's palms. The 2 sides exchanged 10 moves, and the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Immortal Supremacy was also shocked. He didn't even kill the other party after unlocking the seal on his hands. It was too detestable. The heavenly monument. With an angry roar, the immortal heavenly monument appeared in front of him. He grabbed it with both hands, and countless strange runes appeared on it. Kid, it's over. He activated his supreme weapon. Chapter 5909. The indestructible sky steel rushed over, as if it could suppress everything. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He also felt a huge pressure. It must be said that these supreme beings were extremely terrifying. None of them were weaklings to be able to reach this step. However, he was still fearless. Buzz. Lin Xian also stretched out his hands and slowly waved them. There was a black and white aura flickering on them. Then it turned into a pattern in front of him, yin-yang pattern. When the people of the Kuan-Peng race saw this scene, they exclaimed, is it their yin-yang law? No, it wasn't exactly the same. It was this kid's unique black and white pattern. Lin Xian displayed the Taiji pattern and flew forward. It's useless, kid. No matter what yin-yang law you use, it's useless. You're no match for me. The indestructible supremes were incomparably powerful. He was full of confidence. The sky steel descended and collided with the yin-yang Taiji pattern. A rumbling sound erupted, and the Taiji pattern burst out with a bright light. However, the other half formed a vortex. Yin and yang cooperated with each other and blocked the indestructible sky steel. Lin Xian's lips curled up. The Taiji pattern was originally incomparably mysterious. After reading the ancient scriptures left behind by the Kuan-Peng Great Emperor, he was inspired. The Taiji pattern was even more terrifying. The Taiji pattern originally had the effect of using four tails to deal with 1,000 caddies. At this moment, Lin Xian displayed the Taiji pattern and directly sent the indestructible Sky Steel flying. The indestructible Supreme's body swayed, and his chi and blood surged. His eyes were about to pop out. The other party actually sent his supreme weapon flying. Moreover, he only relied on a Taiji pattern. Damn it, how was this possible? He roared angrily, and the aura on his body erupted again. He stretched out his hands, as if he wanted to tear the sky apart. Everyone retreated. Even though they were far away, they still vomited blood. At this moment, the void mirror was also constantly erupting with power, forming many spatial cracks and transmitting this power into the universe. Otherwise, the hidden Emperor Star would be torn apart. The battle erupted again. Everyone was shocked. They had only heard of such a battle in legends. They didn't expect to see it with their own eyes. How were they two people? They were two gods fighting. Each of them had power close to that of a great emperor. The battle between the two was even more terrifying than a battle between extreme weapons. This was because extreme weapons only possessed great power and did not have many divine abilities or laws. However, Lin Xian and the immortal supremacy had too many dazzling mystic powers and nomological laws. It could be said that it was an eye-opener. Boom! Suddenly, the seal on the undying supremacy's eye was lifted, and it turned into black flames that blotted out the sky. Like the flames of hell, it charged towards Lin Xian. This sudden attack was too terrifying. Originally, the two of them were evenly matched. Now that the seal had been undone once more, the might of the imperishable paragon had risen once more. Lin Xian would be in danger. In the face of this attack, Lin Xian roared. He took out the immortal slaying sword and pointed it at the sky. Chop! With a furious roar, the immortal slaying sword slashed down, splitting the black flames that filled the sky. Immortal supremacy. Don't forget that I don't only have the 9-yang divine body, but I'm also a swordsman. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, resounding throughout the world. At this moment, sword chi appeared on his divine body, piercing through heaven and earth. The immortal slaying sword in Lin Xian's hand became more and more terrifying. This was a divine sword that was stained with the blood of countless experts. It had an extremely terrifying killing intent. When Lin Xian used his divine power to dance, he could really destroy everything. The immortal supremacy held the heavenly steel in his left hand and the immortal sword in his right. He attacked with both hands and fought with Lin Xian. Lin Xian seemed to have merged with the sword, and his entire body emitted an endless sharpness. His sword chi was even more terrifying than the immortal sword. It's useless. My sword chi can't be destroyed. I'm immortal and indestructible. The shattered sword chi that filled the sky quickly recovered. Every time it was shattered, it recovered at an even faster speed, as if it was truly indestructible. Everyone's scalp went numb. How could they fight like this? Lin Xian sneered. You can't be destroyed, but I can destroy everything. I'll let you see the power of the great dragon sword. On the immortal slaying sword, a dragon sword chi appeared and kept slashing down. The invincible power slashed the black sword chi into smithereens. It couldn't be healed in a short period of time. Lin Xian held the immortal slaying sword in his right hand and kept striking out heaven-defying sword techniques. His left hand merged with the 9 suns and slapped over. The 9 suns seemed to have turned into a divine sun diagram that also enveloped over. Watch how I suppress you. Previously, the immortal supremacy wanted to use the immortal diagram to suppress Lin Xian. Now, Lin Xian was giving him a taste of his own medicine. The 9 suns landed on the undying paragon's body, causing his body to sway. Damn it, you dare to suppress me? He was mad with anger. What kind of existence was he? He was high and mighty, Even time couldn't suppress him. He had lived for countless years. How could he be suppressed by a young junior now? Get lost. He summoned back the immortal steel and swung it out with force. The heavenly steel was like a giant axe, slamming hard on the nine-yang palm. It blocked the nine-yang palm. However, the crisis was not over. Lin Xian was too strong. Lin Xian's physique was not weaker than his. Lin Xian's sword was also incomparably terrifying. Moreover, this was an invincible sword qi, an indestructible aura on his body. Puff! The immortal sword slashed on Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's immortal slaying sword also slashed on the immortal supremacy. Both of them were injured at the same time and flew backward. Wounds appeared on their bodies, and blood flowed out. Lin Xian stood up and circulated his power to repair it. It didn't take long for the indestructible power to be destroyed by him. On the other side, the immortal supremacy's expression was ugly. The invincible power was crazily tearing open his wounds. I am indestructible. He circulated the indestructible mantra and spent a lot of energy to release this indestructible aura. Why do I feel that the immortal supremacy is at a disadvantage? He didn't need to feel it to know that Lin Wuti was suppressing the immortal supremacy. Countless voices of discussion rang out. The people of the immortal clan were crazy. Was their supremacy being suppressed? Lin Xian said, "It's useless. You are no match for me at all. You should know about the spiritual sovereign, right? I chased him away in the heavens' lands. So, you're no exception." After the immortal supremacy heard this, his pupils shrank. No wonder. I asked him who attacked him, but he didn't say anything. I thought it was someone from the other world. I didn't expect it to be you. It seems that when you were in the heavenly land, you broke through and became a great success divine body. However, your path ends here. I will let you see my trump card. This move was originally prepared to be used against the great emperors. I didn't expect to use it on you. You should be proud to be able to die under this move. The immortal supremacy stood in the void, with a grave expression on his face. The indestructible aura on his body quickly disappeared, as if it had all entered his body. Chapter 59:10. An extremely terrifying aura erupted from the immortal supremacy. You can't withstand this move at all. His palm met the seal and struck out with a powerful attack. Xiantian Qi. Indestructible slash. A terrifying black storm condensed on his body. Then he spat out a breath. When this breath appeared, the entire world shattered. It couldn't withstand this power at all. What was that? The faces of the spectators changed drastically. The people from the Emperor clan were also terrified. They felt a chill down their spines. Even Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. He also felt a fatal crisis. This guy actually had such a trump card? Kid, it's useless. This is the Xiantian Qi that I've been cultivating in my body for tens of thousands of years. Let's see how you can resist it. Boom. As soon as he said that, the black Xiantian Qi flew out and attacked Lin Xian. Its terrifying power swept through everything. Lin Xian roared. He used his divine body to the extreme and resisted with all his might. He waved the god's slaying sword in his hand and slashed fiercely. The two collided and exploded with a roar. The Xiantian Qi indestructible slash was a terrifying black stream of air. When it came into contact with the god slaying sword, it completely erupted. Although part of it was blocked by the god slaying sword, the rest still enveloped Lin Xian. That place completely turned into a black hole and disappeared. Was he dead? Lin Wuti had fallen. It was a pity that such a top genius had finally fallen. He had no choice. He had been too arrogant. He shouldn't have offended the immortal supremacy. This was the supreme existence that had caused the Dark War back then. How could he be defeated by a young man? Countless sighs could be heard. The people of the Divine Union also went crazy. Could it be that their alliance leader had fallen? No. Look, someone rushed out. They saw a black figure in front of them retreating quickly. Buffed! Lin Xian was unable to withstand the attacks and was forced to retreat continuously. Many wounds had appeared on his body, and blood was flowing out from those wounds. He was injured. Lin Wuyi was injured. When the people of Mount Eternal saw this scene, they cried out in surprise. They were happy. Our supreme martial artist has won. Lin Wuyi admit defeat. The imperishable sovereign opened and closed his eyes, exuding an unparalleled pressure. He was like a high and mighty god who controlled everything. You're actually able to injure my great success divine body. You're truly powerful. As expected of a supernatural ability that had been nurtured in his body for tens of thousands of years. However, this kind of ability is not enough to make me admit defeat. The god flame in Lin Xian's forehead flickered as the terrifying light of the sun burst out from his body. When these flames appeared, the world turned into a sea of fire. Countless mysterious flames circled in the air, as if it had turned into a world of flames. Heavens, is this a divine fire? Countless people looked up at the sky and exclaimed. Although Lin Xian had not become a great emperor and did not have a true divine flame, he was still a great emperor. However, the flames were truly too terrifying. Lin Xian stood in the middle of the sea of fire, and a terrifying sword Qi dragon shadow appeared on his body. He kept waving his hand, and the sword Qi seemed to have come to life, bursting with an extremely sharp aura. Then the flames began to move. They turned into terrifying dragon silhouettes one after another. Like fire dragons, they swept through the world. In the end, the heads of these fire dragons contained the sun. 9 fire dragons contained pearls, and 9 suns circled around Lin Xian. This scene was extremely terrifying. Kill. Lin Xian's body was stained with blood. He threw out a punch, and one of the dragons flew out with the sun in its mouth. Between heaven and earth, a bolt of lightning struck one after another. Then it was as if the world was being split apart. This power, the immortal supremacy, was stunned. What kind of power is this? It was too powerful. He quickly tried to block the attack, but he was sent flying by the impact. He felt as if he had been struck by lightning. The terrifying flames and sharp aura tore his body apart. He spat out a mouthful of blood and crashed into a distant mountain peak. His body swayed. Boom. Lin Xian punched twice more, and 2 fire dragons rushed over again with the sun in their mouths. Everyone went crazy. What kind of power was this? This was the power of the fusion of the 9-yang divine body and the great dragon sword soul. It was extremely powerful. After 2 punches, the imperishable sovereign's arm was broken. Lin Xian waved again. Then his legs, shoulders, and body were all pierced. The indestructible sovereign was smashed into pieces. Defeated, the imperishable sovereign was completely defeated, and he was severely injured. Countless people were dumbfounded. The people of Mount Eternal were even more terrified. This was too powerful. Impossible? The imperishable sovereign would not be defeated. They shook their heads frantically. Now, they knew who was strong and who was weak, right? Lin Xian snorted coldly, stepping on the divine fire. He was extremely powerful. His gaze carried a sharp glint. The imperishable sovereign screamed in the air. Countless blood mists, with him as the center, spread in all directions. The entire universe couldn't withstand it. He let out a miserable roar. Damn it! This is too despicable. I won't let you off. Do you think I will let you off? Lin Xian flicked his finger, and energy soared into the sky. An extremely terrifying light appeared in his eyes. Slash. The immortal slaying sword slashed down again. The imperishable sovereign screamed, and hurriedly activated his supreme weapon to block. The divine steel enlarged in the air and blocked the sword energy. However, it was still beaten until it kept rolling. Lin Xian took out the heaven-swallowing jar again. Swallow for me. The black vortex swallowed the heavens and the earth, wanting to swallow the imperishable sovereign. The imperishable sovereign had completely gone crazy. He was forced into a desperate situation by Lin Xian. Was the imperishable sovereign going to die? Countless people were shocked, but the imperishable sovereign roared, "Brat, I will let you die without a burial place. You asked for it." With a boom, countless black runes jumped on his body, turning into black flames and disappearing. Then, a powerful force erupted and swept in all directions. Feeling this power, countless people were sent flying. What was this? This power was too terrifying. This was the power of a great emperor. They saw that the broken body began to recover. Then, a ball of black flames enveloped the imperishable sovereign's body. The flames were extremely powerful, even surpassing the 9 suns' divine fire. This was a true divine fire, a power that only a great emperor could possess. The people of the Yi family exclaimed. The people of the Gu family also felt their scalps go numb. The imperishable sovereign had become a great emperor. Had he broken through? They were all stunned. Lin Xian's pupils also shrank. "You have broken all the seals. You are really crazy." He knew that after the other party broke the seals, he only had 1,000 years to live. If he could become an immortal within 1,000 years, he would be able to continue living. If not, he would be reduced to ashes and could never be resurrected. 1,000 years was very long in the eyes of ordinary people, but for a great emperor, it was already very short. It seemed that the imperishable sovereign was really at his wit's end. The power of the peak had finally returned. The imperishable sovereign roared into the sky, the black divine fire on his body sweeping through the 9 heavens. In the next moment, he lowered his head and stared at Lin Xian, viciousness in his eyes. "Brat, are you ready to despair? I won't let you go." Chapter 59:11. Immortal Supreme. No, he should be the immortal great emperor. At this moment, he had already recovered to his peak state, from a supreme to a great emperor. He stood between heaven and earth, his powerful strength able to suppress everything. With a palm strike, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless black flames danced and dashed forward. Lin Xian waved the immortal slaying sword to block. The two collided, and he was forced back. The power of a true great emperor, a complete great emperor, was too strong. Lin Xian called back the heaven-swallowing jar and surrounded him. He was facing a great enemy. "It's useless, kid, you can't compete with me at my peak. Today is the day you die." The immortal supreme walked towards Lin Xian with a cold expression. Boundless black flames danced beneath his feet, forming a cage that was enough to suppress everything. Nothing could escape in front of him. Not good, Lin Gongzi was in danger. A true great emperor was too terrifying. The people of the Yi family exclaimed. The people of the Phoenix clan and the Qilin clan also had solemn expressions. Lin Xian's expression was even colder. A true great emperor? I'll experience it. Facing the immortal great emperor, Lin Xian was still not afraid. Instead, he took a step forward. A strong fighting spirit erupted from his body. The great dragon sword soul roared and rose steadily, as if a true dragon had awakened. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws, tearing the 9 heavens apart. At this critical moment, there was a buzzing sound. A whistling sound came from the space world of the Gu family. The people of the Gu family were stunned. What happened? Everyone was stunned and turned their heads to look. In the depths of the Gu family, endless laws filled the air. Then a battle armor flew out. This battle armor kept shuttling, and in an instant it appeared in front of everyone. What was this? The Gu family's patriarch exclaimed, "Void battle armor." They were stunned. Even the Immortal Supreme turned his head abruptly, his eyes erupting with an intense light. "Space battle armor? I'll take you in." He stretched out his big hand and grabbed in front of him. This time, his goal was the space battle armor. Although it wasn't an extreme weapon, it was still extremely powerful. However, it was the armor worn by the Void Emperor. It was very mysterious and had the power to travel through space. If he could obtain it, he would become even stronger and safer in the high heavens. Thus, he had to obtain the Void battle armor. Merciless nomological laws erupted from the Void battle armor, causing the surrounding void to seem like it was as far away as the horizon. It looked very close, but it was actually separated by an endless universe. For a moment, the black hand was unable to grab hold of the armor. At the same time, the seal of the void rumbled and rose into the air. It left the Gu family and came to the side of the void armor. In the next instant, it entered the void battle armor and fused with it. What was going on? Countless people were stunned. The members of the Gu family were also stunned. They didn't know about this either. Suddenly, a cold voice was heard from the void armor. "Immortal Supremacy, do you still want to start a dark battle?" Chop. His voice was extremely loud and clear, like the roar of a deity. The pupils of the Gu family's people shrank. This was the voice of the ancestor. The members of the Yi family exclaimed. The Void Emperor left behind a trick in the Void Land. The members of the Phoenix clan were also surprised. It seemed that the Immortal Supremacy had been suppressed by the Void Emperor back then. There had been an earth-shattering battle between the two sides. In the end, the Void Emperor had won. "Void, you're already dead. How dare you be arrogant in front of me?" The Immortal Supremacy roared crazily. His eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. He no longer paid attention to Lin Xian. Instead, he turned around and faced the Void battle armor with all his might. "You want to deal with me with just a soul imprint? You're too naive. It's time for me to take revenge for what happened back then. I'll take your Void battle armor and destroy your bloodline. I'll make the Gu family disappear forever." The cold voice made the members of the Gu family despair. Their hearts were in their mouths. The Immortal Supremacy roared and waved the sky steel, attacking fiercely. This was an attack from a great emperor. It was extremely powerful. Lin Xian's expression changed. He wanted to intervene, but it was already too late. However, at this moment, a cold snort came from the Void battle armor in front of him. It was the Void blade. The Void mirror bloomed in the Zhan family. The power of the extreme Tao enveloped the Void battle armor. The Void battle armor waved and shot out a Void blade. This space blade tore through the void. It was even more terrifying than an all-around extreme Tao attack. In the next instant, the void was mercilessly torn apart. An invisible light blade slashed towards the Immortal Supremacy. The Immortal Supremacy's expression changed. He roared and fought with all his might. With a boom, he was struck. His body was torn apart by an extremely powerful force. Blood dyed the sky red. The Immortal Supremacy roared and shattered the Void blade. "Void, you're dead, but you can still hurt me. I admire you. However, your descendants are in trouble. I'll make them wish they were dead," said a cold voice. The Immortal Sovereign flew forward, covered in blood. No, the members of the Gu family despaired. It would be difficult for them to die if they were targeted by a great emperor. However, at this moment, the Void battle armor said coldly, "Void burial." Boom. As soon as this voice was heard, the heavens fell and the earth cracked. The Immortal Supremacy seemed to have recalled a terrifying memory. He roared crazily, "How can you use this move?" He turned and fled. At this moment, he didn't care about Lin Xian or the Gu family. He wanted to escape. This was because he had seen this move before. Back then, he had launched a dark war, and swept across the universe. In the end, a great emperor had appeared during that period. It was the Void Emperor. He fought with the Void Emperor. In the end, he was severely injured by the Void Emperor's move. He had almost died. That move was called the Void Burial. It was a move that could bury a great emperor. Back then, the Void Emperor had been injured after using it. Now that the Void Emperor was no longer around, how could he still use this move? He had gone crazy. Everyone was also frightened. However, they realized that this move wasn't targeted at them. It was only targeted at the immortal supremacy. This was the move of a great emperor. The attack was very precise. As long as the great emperor was willing, it wouldn't affect anyone. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He felt a chill run down his spine. This move also brought about a great threat to his life. In the void, the power of space exploded, forming a black hole that spread rapidly. The black hole crushed everything in its path. This was the Great Void Burial. It could bury a great emperor. The immortal supremacy fled crazily. However, under the power of space, he couldn't escape at all. Therefore, he was enveloped. He could only resist with all his strength. I am undying and indestructible. An indestructible aura surged from his body. His entire person seemed to have turned into an indestructible god. Boom. In the next instant, he was swallowed up. A destructive force swept out. Everyone retreated in horror. The place turned into an eternal black hole that kept shattering. Not long after, a scream was heard. Chapter 59:12. Old Man Void, just you wait. I won't let the Goof family off. A mournful voice sounded. Everyone suddenly raised their heads. Lin Xian also used his Rinnegan to look. He saw a ball of black flames surrounding a black heart and quickly throwing it into the distance. There was an indestructible aura on it. That was the immortal supremacy. He was really stunned. The immortal supremacy had already recovered to a great emperor. His battle strength was incomparably powerful, making him feel as if he was facing a great enemy. But now, he was actually seriously injured by a single move. Even the great emperor's body was shattered, leaving only the divine fire and heart. One could imagine how injured the other party was. A void ultimate move? This was the Void Emperor's divine ability. The Void Emperor didn't appear. He only used the method left behind to injure the immortal supremacy. It was really unbelievable. Between heaven and earth, the shattered void slowly recovered. The void armor and the void mirror separated again and returned to the Gu family. The Void Emperor's voice disappeared. Ancestor, Great Emperor, the people of the Gu family all knelt on the ground, their eyes red. Now, in this era of immortal ascension, their Gu family seemed to be powerless. There were no great emperors, nor were there any emperor-level figures. There were only extreme weapons and great emperors' ancient scriptures. However, these became the things that everyone was jealous of, especially Higgin. It probably wouldn't be long before he attacked them. Even this time, if Lin Xian and the Void Armor didn't make a move one after another, they would have been destroyed long ago. Great Emperor, if only you were still alive. The people of the Gu family passed. They hoped so much that the Void Emperor would appear. The other spectators also sighed. Some people were puzzled. Won't the Void Emperor appear? I heard that the great emperors from tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years ago have awakened from their slumber. The Void Emperor was so powerful. Didn't he awaken? This wasn't just one person's doubt. This was everyone's doubt. Even Lin Xian was very curious. The people of the other great emperor families also sighed. I don't know. The Gu family's patriarch shook his head. Their great emperor families had existed until now. It could be said that tens of thousands of people respected them. However, up until now, none of their great emperors had appeared. As for the other great emperor clans that hadn't been passed down, the ancient great emperors had awakened. It had to be said that this was really a strange thing. Even Lin Xian frowned. Yes, the emperors of the Gu family, the Yi family, the Phoenix clan, the Kailan clan, and the Kuanpeng clan. Not a single person appeared. Could it be that there was a special reason? Thinking of this, Lin Xian's figure flashed and descended. He asked, "Does the Gu family not know anything about the Void Monarch?" Greetings to Lin Gongzi. The Gu family members turned around and looked at Lin Xian before bowing respectfully. "Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for saving me earlier. As for the Void Emperor, we really don't know." Back then, the Patriarch had encountered a dark battle. Apart from the imperishable Paragon, there were other forbidden lands that had taken action as well. Back then, the Patriarch had single-handedly suppressed the dark forces in the battle. However, he had also been injured. Moreover, he seemed to have been seriously injured. Later, the Patriarch founded the Gu family, and then left. It seemed that he had gone to the starry sky of the universe. After that, there was no news of him. In the end, it seemed that only the Void Mirror, the Void Armor, and the Void Ancient Scripture had returned. As for the Patriarch, his whereabouts were unknown. As for the Patriarch's son and daughter, who were the princes and princesses, they didn't enter the nerve seal back then, because the Patriarch was afraid that these paragons would appear again. So that was the case. After Lin Xian heard this, he was also very emotional. This was the guardian of the human race. Without the Void Monarch, the universe back then would have been destroyed by the people of the Forbidden Lands. Now, it might have turned into dust. After all, these paragons didn't care about this universe at all. What they cared about was the Jiutian Shitty. "Well, I still have something to discuss with you," Lin Xian said. The Gu family members were stunned when they heard this. "What is it?" They invited Lin Xian in. As for the others, they all left one after another. This news once again spread throughout the heavens and the realms. Countless people were shocked. The battle between Lin Xian and the immortal Venerable had become a legend. And the Gu family's void, unique technique shocked people again. Even the martial monarch clans and forbidden grounds were terrified. The void burial, a unique technique that was enough to bury a great emperor. The Gu family space world didn't suffer much of an impact here. After all, the previous battles were all outside. It was still a paradise on earth inside. After entering a hall, the Gu family's patriarch asked, "I wonder what Lin Gongzi wants." Previously, they were very nervous. After all, they had a grudge against Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian saved them. This meant that the other party wasn't here for revenge. Then what was the matter? "Lin Gongzi, we have been against you before. We are here to apologize to you." The Gu family's patriarch and the elders all stood up and deeply apologized. Lin Xian said, "What happened in the past is in the past. Moreover, our battle was a battle of the great Tao. Some grudges should be written off." After knowing that the Void Emperor had done so much for the human race, Lin Xian couldn't bear to hate the Gu family. Moreover, Lin Xian had killed many of the Gu family's experts before. His anger had long since dissipated. He had even killed the Gu family's descendant. Thinking of this, Lin Xian felt a little embarrassed. It seemed that he had to find another descendant for the Gu family. Thinking of this, he said, "I came here this time for two things. The first thing is that the Gu family now lacks a top genius who can lead you to rise." When he said this, the Gu family's people sighed. Many of them even had strange expressions. Their Gu family's descendant had been killed by Lin Wudi, but now they didn't dare to say anything. Lin Wudi said, "Although your Gu family's top genius has fallen, I still know of one person." Who was it? The Gu family's people were all stunned. Lin Xian said, "Previously, when I was in the true spirit world, I became friends with a genius of the Gu family. However, because of some things, he didn't stand out in front of everyone. His name was Gu Santong." Hearing this, the Gu family's elders were all excited. To be recognized by Lin Wuti, one's talent was definitely not ordinary. Moreover, he was Lin Wuti's friend. This way, they could still get Lin Xian's help. Therefore, the Gu family's patriarch immediately asked, "Where is this Gu family's disciple?" "In the second star field, a star realm. Back then, I arranged for him to go there. But where is he now? I don't know either. However, we can go to the second star field to take a look." "All right, then we'll immediately send people to the second star field to look for him. Sir, can you give us a portrait of Gu Santong?" Lin Xian nodded. With a wave of his hand, he drew out a portrait of Gu Santong from his memory using nomological laws and handed it to the patriarch. Then he said, "If I have time, I'll go with you." "Thank you very much, Lin Gongzi." The Gu family's people were grateful. "Sir, what is the second thing?" The Gu family's people asked again. Lin Xian took a deep breath. Then he said in a low voice, "The second thing, I want to borrow the ancient void scripture to take a look." Chapter 59:13. Borrow the void ancient scripture. When these words came out, the Gu family members all sucked in a breath of cold air. They didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a purpose. They hesitated. After all, this was a serious matter. Lin Xian said, "I won't let you lose out. I'll also let you see a great emperor's ancient scripture, demon emperor scripture, green emperor scripture, or phoenix ancient scripture." What a generous offer. The Gu family was shocked. The Gu family leader walked out and said, "Lin Gongzi, the Gu family is indebted to you. Of course, we won't refuse. However, our void ancient scripture is a little special." What did he mean by special? Lin Xian was confused. The Gu family elder said, "Our void ancient scripture is engraved on the void battle robe. If you want to see the scripture, you must be recognized by the void battle robe. Otherwise, even if we agree, we can't do anything about it." How could there be such a thing? Lin Xian was shocked. He had just seen the void battle robe. It was very powerful. It turned out that there was a void ancient scripture hidden inside. He took a deep breath and nodded. "Okay, take me to see the void battle robe." "Lin Gongzi, this way, please." The Gu family leader led the way. The group walked outside. This space world was very big. After leaving the main hall, they flew all the way. Finally, they stopped at a mountain peak in front of them. This mountain peak was extremely terrifying. There was a battle robe on the mountain peak. It was the void battle robe. When Lin Xian saw the void battle robe again, he took a deep breath. Even though he had a great perfection divine body, it was still too weak. Even though he had a body deity body, he still felt a chill down his spine. He had to admit that this battle robe was really extraordinary. "Lin Gongzi, please." Lin Xian rose into the air and flew towards the mountain peak. He came before the void battle robe and saluted it with both hands. "Junior Lin Xian greets Senior." Although it was just a battle robe, Lin Xian knew that it belonged to the Void Emperor. Furthermore, it contained a trace of the Void Emperor's soul imprint. The Void Monarch wasn't just a martial monarch. He was an existence that suppressed the darkness. It could be said that he was admired by many. "Senior, I would like to take a look at the ancient void scripture. At the same time, I will give the Gu clan another great emperor's ancient scripture as a fair exchange. I wonder if Senior can agree?" After Lin Xian finished speaking, he waited quietly. His gaze was incomparably deep. However, there was still a sense of apprehension in his heart. Below, the people from the Gu family were even more nervous. This matter could only be decided by the void robe. They could only watch from the side. After a while, the atmosphere became eerily quiet. The people of the Gu family sighed. "Looks like we failed." All of a sudden, the heavenly void battle robe began to tremble as the power of the void began to surge from it. Then a voice came. "You have the 9 yang divine body?" "That's right. Not only do I have the 9 yang divine body, I'm also the successor of the great dragon. I'm from the God realm. Currently, I'm fighting against the Nirvana realm. I can let you see the ancient void scripture. I hope that you can protect the Gu clan at critical moments in the future. Senior, don't worry. I'll help the Gu clan. Boom. The heavenly void battle robe soared into the sky, erupting with endless power. Between heaven and earth, thunder flashed. The originally clear sky was now like a heavenly tribulation. The people of the Gu clan looked up at the sky with shock. They saw that the heavenly void battle robe had actually fallen on Lin Xian's body. Did he agree? The patriarch of the Gu clan was shocked. He didn't expect that Lin Xian would be recognized by the ancestor. Lin Xian's body also trembled, wearing the heavenly void battle robe. Lin Xian seemed to have merged with the whole world. It seemed that with a thought, he could reach the universe and go to any corner of the myriad worlds. Spatial magic was indeed terrifying. In the next moment, Lin Xian felt that the world seemed to be spinning as a magical power enveloped him. Was this the ancient void scripture? He had to wear the heavenly void battle robe to see it. Lin Xian was too surprised. He hurriedly concentrated and carefully read the ancient void scripture. Half a month later, Lin Xian opened his eyes. The heavenly void battle robe left his body and returned to the mountain peak. Thank you, Senior. Lin Xian bowed, then turned and left the mountain peak, landing on the ground. Congratulations, Lin Gongzi. The patriarch of the Gu clan came to congratulate him. Lin Xian waved his hand, and a cloud of black, demonic energy appeared. He said, I can show you the Demon Emperor's ancient scripture. Good. The people of the Gu clan were also excited. They had seen Lin Xian use the Demon Emperor's ancient scripture before, and it was extremely terrifying. If they could watch it, they would benefit immensely. Lin Xian sent the Demon Emperor's ancient scripture out for these people to see. Then he sat aside and continued to cultivate. Reading the ancient scripture didn't necessarily mean that one would learn the supernatural powers and immortal spells in the ancient scripture, but it could allow one to have a deeper understanding of the great Tao. For example, Lin Xian's understanding of the spatial laws had reached a new level. As a result, his other great Tao mystiques and immortal spells seemed to have become stronger. Another half a month passed, and the people of the Gu clan were also delighted. The demonic energy in the sky slowly disappeared. The patriarch of the Gu clan brought a group of elders over to discuss with Lin Xian some of the issues in the ancient scripture. They were also very emotional. The patriarch of the Gu clan said, Lin Gongzi, is the Gu Santong you mentioned really in the second stellar domain? We plan to go. The Gu clan was now lacking a top genius. They had to quickly cultivate one. Lin Xian nodded. He said, rest for a few days. I'll go with you. The Gu clan returned, and Lin Xian returned to the real world to meet up with Murong Qingqing and the others. The next few days were peaceful. But on this day, Murong Qingqing suddenly stood up. Yan Ryu was also surprised. What happened? Lin Xian asked. Murong Qingqing and Yan Ryu said, our bloodline seems to be calling. At the same time, quasi-emperors from the Phoenix clan and the Demon Emperor Mountain came. They were coming to pick up Murong Qingqing and Yan Ryu. Lin Xian walked out and asked them what happened. The two quasi-emperors said, there seems to be some changes in the clan. It should be related to their great emperor. So Murong Qingqing and Yan Ryu were asked to go back. Brother Xian will go back first. Murong Qingqing and Yan Ryu were ready to go back to the clan. Lin Xian nodded. Okay, be careful. He waved his hand and said goodbye to them. At this time, the Hellfire Dragon also walked out and said, I have to go back to Divine Dragon City. I think the Great Emperor seems to have some tricks to use. Dragon Emperor, don't wake up now. Divine Dragon City is very dangerous without anyone watching. Okay, I'll be relieved if you go back. The Hellfire Dragon also rose into the air. The Toad and the Crimson Dragon stayed by his side. Little White was carefree. It stared with its big black gem-like eyes and looked around. It was fine. It ate some spiritual fruits and spiritual herbs. The days were very carefree. Just like that, 3 days later, the Gu clan's patriarch came again. Lin Gongzi, let's go. Lin Xian nodded. The group of people walked into the spatial door. The Gu clan's void laws were extremely powerful. They directly built the space door and went to the second star region. Chapter 59:14. A black steel streaked across the vast universe. A figure in a black robe sat on the steel. His face was extremely pale. It was the immortal supremacy. But now, he should be called the immortal supremacy because he had broken the seal and recovered his divine fire. He could no longer go back. Damn it. Only 1,000 years left. I have to recover my strength first, then find a way to become an immortal. Go to the heavenly land. His eyes shone with a piercing light. Damn it. How dare you injure me so badly? I won't forgive you, old man. The immortal supremacy's expression was ugly. He had absorbed 100 worlds' power, but he had only recovered a little. He gritted his teeth and absorbed another 500 worlds' power. Next, he had to go to the deity ground to recover, as soon as possible. Thinking of this, he sped up. The black steel kept shuttling back and forth, tearing the void apart. However, at this moment, a figure appeared in front of him. It was also a black figure with his back facing him. Get out of my way. The immortal supremacy sneered. Who is it? Who dares to block my way? Riding on the black sky's steel, Lin Fan charged over, crushing such an ant into dust. At this moment, the black figure in front of him turned around, and a terrifying light shone in his eyes. Then he threw a punch. The black fist pierced through heaven and earth and collided with the steel. There was an earth-shattering sound, and the steel was knocked back. The immortal supremacy was also knocked back. His face was full of horror. Who are you? He was too shocked. Although he was injured, he was still a supremacy. No one below the supremacy level was a match for him. But now, someone had sent him flying with a punch. Was this person a supremacy? The figure in front of him turned around completely. It was also a black figure with a monstrous demonic aura. It was completely different from the immortal supremacy's aura. What a terrifying demonic aura. Are you the demon emperor? The immortal supremacy's pupils shrank. That's right, you still remember me. That's good. Hand over the immortal heart, and I'll spare your life. Don't go too far, demon emperor. I'm not a supremacy now. I've recovered to my peak. I'm a supremacy. How dare you threaten me? The immortal emperor roared madly. The undying heart was his heart. How could he be willing to give his heart to someone else? Even ordinary people wouldn't be willing to do so, let alone an emperor like him. Stupid thing. Even great emperors had differences in strength. The demon emperor charged over. The demon god fist came crashing down. The immortal heavenly emperor was furious. Damn it, how dare you look down on me? He quickly made his move. The two martial monarchs clashed with one another. Their power swept out in all directions. The world around him continued to shatter. However, after 3 punches, the undying utmost exalted's body was pierced through. You are too weak, the demon emperor sneered. With a wave of his hand, a gigantic hand grabbed at the shattered body. There was a black heart beating nonstop inside. That was the undying heart. No, you dare? The immortal emperor roared madly, trying his best to protect the undying heart. However, he was still taken away. In the next moment, it was as if his strength had been sucked away, and he became much weaker. Damn it, I'm injured. If I hadn't been buried in the void, how could I have been defeated so easily? The demon emperor sneered. He grabbed the undying heart and glanced at the immortal emperor. Even if you were at your peak, you would still be no match for me. Besides, do you think I'm at my peak now? I've only just recovered, and I'm still weak. That's why you were never my match. With that, the demon emperor turned and left. His target was the undying heart. Do you dare take it away? Don't forget who is behind me. I'm from the Supreme Palace. The demon emperor stopped and turned his head, his eyes flashing. Ha! Are you scared now? The immortal emperor sneered. I know you're crazy, but no matter how crazy you are, you should still be afraid of the Supreme Palace. Do you know what kind of existence they are? Now, obediently return the undying heart. Boom. The demon emperor didn't say anything. He slapped the immortal emperor and sent him flying. The immortal emperor's face was swollen. He was so angry that he vomited blood. The demon emperor sneered. You think you can threaten me? So, what if you're from the Supreme Palace? It's not like I haven't killed you Supremes before. If you don't like it, ask your Supreme Palace to come find me. With that, the demon emperor's body swayed and disappeared with the undying heart. Only the immortal emperor was left, roaring crazily. The battle here shocked everyone in the universe. The power of the great emperors was something they looked up to, but soon this power disappeared. The others didn't pay attention to it. After all, more and more great emperors appeared after the deity ground descended. There were even battles between great emperors from time to time, so they were getting used to it. Needless to say, it was a battle between two great emperors, but they didn't know who won and who lost. At this moment, in the vast universe, there was a star field called the second star field. There were also countless worlds of stars here. In the second star field, there was a purple planet. It was called the Purple Spirit World. At this moment, there was a piece of news in the Purple Spirit World. Have you heard? The Shui-Yuan family went to propose marriage. That's a top family in our world. I wonder which family is so lucky to marry into the Shui-Yuan family. Of course, it was Fairy Yanran of the Santong Mansion. So it's her. She's the most beautiful woman in our world. Only she is worthy of being the #1 genius of the Shui-Yuan family. Countless envious voices were heard. The Santong Mansion. It was vast and magnificent. It was also a top family. At this moment, the Santong Mansion was also very lively. Countless waterfalls fell from the sky. There were many people standing on these waterfalls. These people were wearing blue armor and had extraordinary auras. Standing at the front were two figures. One was a middle-aged man, and the other was a young man. The young man was very handsome. His eyes were bright, and there was a proud smile on his face. The group was slowly descending. The people of the Santong Mansion also looked serious. They hurriedly invited them in. Brother Santong, greetings. The middle-aged man in the lead greeted them with a smile. In the main hall in front of them, a group of people also walked in. The leader was also a middle-aged man. His face was weathered, and there was even white hair at his temples. Behind him was a group of strong cultivators. Beside them was a woman in her 20s. She was very beautiful. She was the #1 beauty of the Purple Spirit World, Gu Yanran. So, you're from the Shui-Yuan family. Please come in. Gu Santong nodded slightly and invited them to the main hall. After they were seated, the middle-aged man, Shui-Yuan Ba, smiled and said, Brother Santong, I'll get straight to the point. This time, we're here to propose marriage. At this, the people of the Santong Mansion all frowned. Gu Santong also raised his eyebrows. I don't want to. Gu Yanran immediately shook her head and refused. Yanran, don't be rude. Gu Santong scolded. Don't worry, we won't blame Fairy Yanran. Shui-Yuan Ba smiled. He continued, the #1 genius of the Shui-Yuan family, Shui-Yuan Hao, has a bright future. Moreover, he has been chosen by a strong cultivator in the deity land to be taken in as a disciple. I think he's worthy of Fairy Yanran, right? Chapter 59:15. He was more than worthy of her. Goose Santong said, "My nephew Shui Yuan is now one of the top geniuses in the world. His future is limitless. I'm afraid my daughter is not worthy of him. In my opinion, the only ones who are worthy of him are those from the celestial land, the true heaven's chosen daughters. Therefore, fellow Taoist water abyss, I think it would be best for the two of you to have a proper discussion." Hearing this, Gu Yanran quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Shui Yuanhao stood up and said, "I've been in love with Yanran for a long time. I'll marry no one but her." He extended a finger and said, "I'll come to marry Yanran in a month. Uncle, this is the betrothal gift." Then he waved his hand, and countless treasures flew out of his storage ring. They piled up into a mountain. "My nephew Shui Yuan, I've made myself clear. My daughter doesn't want to marry you. Don't you understand?" Gu Santong's face darkened. Gu Yanran said, "Give up. I will never marry you in this life." Of course, she didn't like this guy. That guy had a terrible reputation. It was unknown how many geniuses had died in his hands. If she married him, she would suffer a fate worse than death. How could Gu Yanran agree? However, Shui Yuanhao said, "You don't agree? That's not up to you. In a month, either you marry me obediently or we'll send troops to Santong Mansion and flatten you." Then he waved his sleeve and left. The powerhouses of Santong Mansion were infuriated. "Arrogant. He's too arrogant. Does he really think we don't exist? My nephew is really spoiled by his father." Shui Yuan took over and said, "I hope everyone can forgive me. We won't lower ourselves to his level." Some elders snorted. Shui Yuanhao smiled and said, "That's good. Then hurry up and prepare for the wedding. 1 month from today, we will come to marry Fairy Yanran." After saying that, Shui Yuan Ba laughed loudly and turned to leave. Damn it, this guy was also so arrogant. The Water Source clan had gone too far. The people of Santong Mansion were furious. They even wanted to attack, but Gu Santong stopped them. The Water Abyss tribe was becoming more and more terrifying. Furthermore, I sensed a power from the Water Tyrant that doesn't belong to his clan. It was a very, very frightening power that made my hair stand on end. So, I think they came prepared this time. What mysterious power? The other elders were shocked. "Master, is this true?" Santong Wang was the man in front of him, Gu Santong, who had single-handedly created the power of his family. It stood tall in this world, and it was even very famous in the star field. If even the patriarchs said so, it was easy to imagine how terrifying Shui Yuanba was. An elder said, "This Shui Yuanba is only the second strongest warrior of the Shui Yuan clan. Above him is an elder brother. He was Shui Yuanhao's father, Shui Yuanxiong. It's said that he's even more terrifying and unfathomable. If we were to really fight him, our chances of victory wouldn't be high. There is still 1 more month. I will enter closed-door cultivation and strive to break through to Quasi-Emperor." Gu Santong stood up, looked at the elders, and said, "I'll leave this month to you. Don't worry, Mansion Master. We will definitely protect the safety of Santong Mansion. Father, be careful. Don't be too impatient." Gu Yanran also reminded him, after all, a breakthrough in cultivation was not something that could be achieved overnight. Gu Santong smiled and patted her shoulder. "Don't worry, Yanran. I won't force you to do anything. Since you don't want to marry him, then we won't. As for the breakthrough, I've recently felt the signs of it. So I think I have about a 70% chance." "Really? Father, that's great." Gu Yanran was very happy. Next, Gu Santong went to cultivate. He entered closed-door cultivation. Every morning and evening, Gu Yanran would come to the cultivation tower and wait. Yenran, come back. When your father breaks through, there will be a vision of heaven and earth. A beautiful middle-aged woman came from afar. It was Gu Yenran's mother, Lu Ruoli. Mother, I want to stay here and accompany father for a while. Gu Yenran said, then I'll stay with you. Lu Ruoli stood there. The two of them stood there quietly from the morning until the sun set. Go back. The two of them left. At night, the moon rose. The Santong mansion was brightly lit. The Santong mansion looked peaceful, but it was very nervous. Who knew if the other party would sneak up on them? The full moon was in the sky. Suddenly, a dark cloud flew by and covered the moon. At this moment, there was a muffled sound of thunder in the sky. It cut through the void. The Santong mansion was immediately alarmed. Countless elders looked up at the sky. That was thunder. Was it a thunder tribulation? Was the mansion master going to pass the tribulation? This was a sign of a breakthrough. That was great. They were very excited. Gu Yenran also rushed out of her room. It's a thunder tribulation. Father is going to break through. On the other side, Lu Ruoli also came out. She said loudly, activate the array and protect the mansion. Yes, the dark clouds in the sky became more and more terrifying. Thunder kept flashing, as if a thunder dragon was descending. The entire purple spirit realm felt it. A thunder tribulation. How terrifying. Once the Supreme Saint tribulation broke through, he would be above the Supreme Saint realm and enter the Quasi-Emperor realm. Countless people were envious. After all, in the second star field, a Quasi-Emperor was already invincible. If he could become a Quasi-Emperor, he would immediately become the supreme leader of the second star field. Thunder tribulation? On the other side, in the endless sea, there was also a mansion. It belonged to the Shui-Yuan clan. Shui Yuanhao frowned. Oh no, is that old guy Goose Santong going to break through? If he became a quasi-emperor, the situation would be troublesome. No matter. Shui Yuanba walked out and said, Big brother is already there. He won't let him break through. Father is already there? That's great. Shui Yuanhao was happy. His father was a real quasi-emperor. In the Santong mansion, thunder finally fell and covered the entire cultivation tower. That place turned into a sea of thunder. Everyone retreated to the distance and watched nervously. Inside the cultivation tower, Gu Santong roared. Beside him, there were countless spatial cracks. He was also a disciple of the Gu clan and cultivated the space law. At this moment, he used his space power to move all the thunder away. Around him, it was extremely quiet. It seemed that not a single thunder could get close to him. Very good. If this continues, I should be able to break through and become a quasi-emperor. Gu Santong's eyes lit up. However, he did not know that a figure appeared outside the Santong mansion. It was a tall man called Shui-Yuan Xiong. At this moment, Shui-Yuan Xiong sneered and took out a pair of blood-colored boxes. After opening it, an extremely strange blood-fiendish aura emerged from within. Inside, there was a blood-colored centipede. Gu Santong, you want to break through and become a quasi-emperor? You will never be able to. He bit his finger and dripped his blood onto the blood-colored centipede. The blood-colored centipede quickly devoured it. Shui-Yuan Xiong frowned, but he did not move. In the end, his entire arm caved in, as if it had turned into white bones. The blood-colored centipede seemed to have eaten its fill. Go and stop that guy, Shui-Yuan Xiong said coldly. The blood-colored centipede turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed toward the cultivation tower. Chapter 59:16. The lightning tribulation in the sky continued to fall. Gu Santong had already become a sea of lightning. However, Gu Santong was very confident that he would be able to break through and become a quasi-emperor. Suddenly, A red ray of light appeared amidst the lightning and shot straight for his neck. It was extremely fast. Goose Santong did not even have time to react. By the time he did, he had already been hit. ****. What was that? Goose Santong roared angrily. He grabbed with his hand, but the blood-colored centipede had already entered his body and started to devour his blood. Not good, Goose Santong roared. His pupils shrank. He wanted to stop it, but it was too late. He had already suffered internal injuries. At this moment, the lightning tribulation in the sky struck down and sent him flying. Boom! The cultivation pagoda was split open. Goose Santong was sent flying, vomiting blood. The lightning tribulation in the sky stopped descending. The dark clouds slowly disappeared. What was going on? What happened? The surrounding elders were all dumbfounded. Lu Ruoli's expression also changed. Not good. It was Santong. She flew over and caught Goose Santong. Gu Yanren also rushed over. She cried, "Father, how are you?" The surrounding elders exclaimed, "Did he fail? That was impossible." The palace lord had clearly said that there was a 70% chance. How could he fail? Goose Santong was now covered in blood. He reached out and grabbed Lu Ruoli. With difficulty, he said, "I was attacked. There's something in my body." Lu Ruoli's expression changed. She quickly used her soul to investigate. In the next moment, she found that there was indeed something in Gu Santong's body. It was a blood-colored centipede, and it was devouring Gu Santong's organs. However, Gu Santong used the last of his strength to use his space bloodline to envelop the blood-colored centipede. However, he had already been severely injured by the lightning tribulation. He did not have the strength to destroy it. Lu Ruoli quickly used her strength to try and kill the blood-colored centipede. The blood-colored centipede was very strange. It could not be killed. Moreover, it was trying to merge with Gu Santong's bloodline. This made her even more afraid to attack. The other elders also stepped forward to give it a try. In the end, they all failed. This was a type of exotic beast. The bloody slaughter centipede was already extinct. It was impossible for it to still exist. How could it appear here? Countless cries of surprise rang out. Outside the mansion, Shui Yuanxiong laughed coldly upon seeing this, before turning around and leaving. When he returned home, Shui Yuanhao rushed over and said, "Father, how is it?" Shui Yuanxiong said, "It's done." "Really? That's great." However, Shui Yuanba said, "That guy knows the law of space." Furthermore, it was rumored that he was related to the Gu clan. If he was really a member of the Gu family, would there be trouble? So, what if he was a member of the Gu family? Shui Yuanxiong snorted coldly. The Gu clan can't even protect themselves now. There are already supreme martial artists eyeing them. Furthermore, did you think that our Shui Yuan clan doesn't have a backer? We also have supreme beings behind us. Moreover, it was a living supreme martial artist. How could a dead great emperor be compared to a living prime? Therefore, this time, we will definitely be able to devour Santong Prefecture. He laughed proudly. Get ready. In a month's time, it will be your wedding day. That will also be the time for us to devour Santong Prefecture. Father, don't worry, I will prepare well. The people of the Purple Spirit Realm were also shocked. The Thunder Tribulation had disappeared. Had he succeeded? No, the Thunder Tribulation had suddenly stopped. Could it be that he had failed to pass the tribulation? That was the direction of Santong Prefecture, right? Had Gu Santong failed to pass the tribulation? Countless sighs could be heard. The Supreme Saint Tribulation was indeed terrifying. It was too difficult to become a quasi-emperor. Santong Prefecture was filled with sorrow. Lu Ruoli and the others were in despair. The current Gu Santong could be said to be extremely dangerous. He could die at any time. They took out countless heavenly treasures to deal with the blood-red centipede, but found that they were all useless. An elder said, "It looks like our methods won't work. We can only ask the Elixir King." The Elixir King? Countless people sucked in a cold breath. Lou Ruoli's expression was grave. This Elixir King was not simple. He was not a king, but six-crown king, a quasi-emperor. And it was said that he seemed to have descended from the deity ground. No one knew why. He came to the second starfield and lived there. When he refined pills, the entire second starfield was filled with fragrance. Countless people's breaths were tumbling. The pills he refined were miraculous. Perhaps his pills could save Gu Santong. Yes, that must be it. Gu Yanran said, "Mother, I will go ask for medicine for father." With that, she rose into the air and left Santong Prefecture. Yanran, wait, Lou Ruoli exclaimed. She also wanted to leave, but with Gu Santong in such a state, she could not. She could only say to the elders beside her, "Go," and accompany Yanran. Don't let her do anything rash. Yes, the 10 elders soared into the air to follow Gu Yanran. They flew all the way to where the Elixir King was. Gu Yanran knelt and begged the Elixir King to give her medicine. But the Elixir King did not see her. Gu Yanran cried, "Senior Elixir King, please give me a pill to save my father." The Santong Prefecture is eternally grateful. At this time, a man walked out from the stars in front of them and said, "You can go. The Elixir King will not see you." "No, give us a chance," Gu Yanran said. The young man snorted, "Don't stand here. If you don't leave in 3 seconds, I will kill you." They exuded a terrifying, murderous intent. The elders behind them said, "Yanran, let's go. We are thinking of other ways." However, Yanran still refused to leave. She knew that only the other party's medicinal pill could save her father. "You won't leave?" The young man sneered and slapped out. Yanran spat out blood and retreated. "Men, kill them." Some people walked out from the stars in front of them and charged at Gu Yanran. "Go." The elders hurried to take Gu Yanran away. At the same time, their expressions changed. This alchemy king was too ruthless, wasn't he? If he didn't want to give, so be it. Why did he have to hunt them down? The entire process was extremely tragic. 2 elders had actually fallen. The remaining people were also injured. Gu Yanran was even more desperate. The Elixir King's subordinates did not seem to stop chasing. They seemed to want to kill Gu Yanran and the others. The leading young man sneered, "Who do you think our Elixir King is? How dare you disturb him while he is refining elixirs? Go to hell." They were too domineering. Dozens of masters surrounded Gu Yanran and the others. Yanran and the others were in danger. At the critical moment, Yanran waved her hand and struck out a space law. Only then did she avoid the fatal blow. The leading young man exclaimed, "Space law, I didn't expect you to know such a precious law. Not good." Yanran's expression changed. Although she knew space law, her father had told her before that she should not use it. One should not rashly use this sort of law. Who knows, it might bring about a fatal disaster. She did not expect that she would be targeted now. "Men, capture this woman and kill the others. I will take her home and study her." The leading young man waved his hand, and dozens of people behind him rushed up. Not good. Yanran's expression changed. Those elders were all in despair. If a great battle broke out, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. At this time, a space door appeared in the nearby stars. In the next instant, a few figures walked out from inside. Chapter 59:17. The sudden appearance of the spatial door stunned Gu Yanran and the man in a single robe. Together, they looked toward the spatial gate. Several figures walked out of the spatial door. At the front was a young and handsome man. Beside him was a dragon and a toad. Beside him were several old men. The aura of space around these old men was very mysterious. Was this the power of space? Could it be someone from the house of Santong? Seeing this, the man in a red robe snorted. You want to save them? That's impossible. Let's go and kill them all together. Behind him, more than a dozen strong men rushed toward Lin Xian and the others. Damn, what did they mean? When they saw this scene, the toad and the others were instantly enraged. Before Lin Xian could make a move, the toad slapped out with its big paw. Boom, boom, boom. An earth-shattering sound was heard. More than a dozen strong men were all slapped to the ground. How dare you attack me? Do you want to die? More than a dozen strong men screamed. The young man in the front was also shocked. Who are you? How dare you attack us? We are the disciples of the Elixir King. You are dead for offending the Elixir King. What Elixir King? We don't know you at all. You attacked us as soon as we came out. If you anger me, you will die miserably. The toad was also furious. They didn't know each other at all. They wanted to kill them as soon as they came. How could it stand it? Therefore, its huge claws directly slapped dozens of experts to death. As for the young man in the front, he wanted to escape, but he was also slapped into a bloody mist. In the blink of an eye, all of the Elixir King's subordinates were dead. Were they dead? The elders of Santong Mansion were shocked. They thought they had lost all hope. They didn't expect a group of people to come and kill them. Gu Yanran was also stunned. The next moment, she came back to her senses and said, "Thank you for saving us." Lin Xian nodded and glanced at the other party. He was slightly stunned as he felt that there was a familiar aura on the other party. However, he didn't think too much about it because they still had things to do this time. Therefore, Lin Xian and the others waved their hands and immediately turned into lightning and disappeared. Did he leave? Gu Yanran was still in shock. She asked the person next to her, "Elder, who are they?" An elder next to him sighed. "These people are much more powerful than us. They must be from the deity ground. Celestial map?" Gu Yanran raised her head and looked at the top of the universe. There was a mystical continent there. It was the deity ground. If the powerhouses of the celestial land were to intervene, would her father be saved? However, before she could speak, Lin Xian and the others had already left. Gu Yanran sighed. The elder beside her also said, "Yanran, let's go back first. It's too dangerous here." These people also returned. At Santong Prefecture, the lights were dim. Everyone was in despair. Their manor head was injured. In fact, he might even be poisoned. Furthermore, he was in grave danger. Perhaps it wouldn't be long before he died. Santong Prefecture was in a precarious situation. At the same time, a group of people arrived outside Santong Prefecture. This should be the place. Santong Prefecture was built by Gu Santong. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. Behind him, the Gu family patriarch was also delighted. Gu Santong was a disciple of the Gu family. Without the help of the Gu family, he was able to establish a force. He was definitely a super genius. They were excited that they would be able to meet this genius soon. However, when they arrived at the house of Santong, these people frowned. The situation wasn't right. The Dark Flood Dragon God said, under normal circumstances, there should be guards in Santong Prefecture. However, when they arrived, no one came out. Lin Xian looked inside and frowned. Oh no! The next moment he rushed in. Inside Santong Prefecture, the guards were also in despair. They didn't go out to guard. However, they still sensed that someone had come in. Who was it? They shouted angrily. The next moment, they saw a young man walk in. Who are you? Are you from the Shueyuan family? Damn it, they attacked. In the end, Lin Xian waved his hand, and the Taiji diagram enveloped them. Lin Xian didn't hurt these people. He just stared at them. These people were terrified. The young man in front of them was too terrifying. Lin Xian's eyes scanned the surroundings. The next moment, his face was cold. He tore open the void and flew toward the main hall in front of him. Oh no! The guards were stupefied. Were these people here to kill their prefecture lord? In the main hall, Lu Ruoli's face was pale. She hadn't rested for the past few days. She was too worried. The elixir masters she had invited all shook their heads and sighed. No one could save Gu Santong. Master He, are you really out of ideas? Lu Ruoli looked at a gray-haired elder and asked carefully. The elder stood up and shook his head. No, Mansion Master Gu doesn't have many days left to live. You should prepare for his funeral. Lu Ruoli was thunderstruck. At this moment, the void split open and a figure walked in. Santong, what happened to you? The person who came was Lin Xian. This sudden change shocked Lu Ruoli. Master, he frowned. Who are you? Lin Xian didn't care about these people at all. Instead, he rushed forward. How dare you disrespect my master? A middle-aged man behind him roared and rushed forward. However, before he could get close to Lin Xian, he was sent flying by Lin Xian's power. Master, he was also furious. Just as he was about to roar in anger, he suddenly froze. He saw that in front of him. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to envelop Gu Santong. The next moment, he was furious. Who hurt me like this? A murderous intent rushed out of Lin Xian's body. Suddenly, the sky shook and the earth shook. The sky above the 9 heavens shattered. The entire mansion of Santong shook violently. All the martial artists in the mansion of Santong trembled in fear. Many of them knelt on the ground. Behind them, the Toad, the Crimson Dragon, the Gu clan leader, and the others also came in. When they saw the injured and weak Gu Santong, all of them were furious, especially those of the Gu clan, who were filled with murderous intent. The Gu clan leader said, "Who did this? I want him to live a life worse than death." Gu Santong was the Gu clan's last hope now, but now he was in danger. It was unforgivable. Who are you? Lu Ruoli and the others were stunned. Who were these masters who suddenly appeared? Why did it feel like any one of them could defeat them? And these people did not seem to have any evil intentions. They seemed to know Santong. Could they be Santong's old friends? Lu Ruoli, as Gu Santong's wife, naturally knew some things about Gu Santong. How is his injury? The Gu clan leader asked. Lu Ruoli sighed and said simply, Santong was ambushed when he was breaking through. I'm afraid he won't live long. Master He, who was beside him, also said he is beyond saving. No one in the world can save him. After that, he closed his eyes. At this time, Lin Xian snorted. I can save him. You? Master He frowned. Young man, although you are strong, saving and killing are two different things. Master He shook his head. In his opinion, unless it was one of those legendary existences who made a move. Otherwise, it would be impossible. Lin Xian ignored the old man and directly took out the heavenly spring of life from the sword world. It enveloped Gu Santong's body and preserved his life. In the next moment, he placed his palm on the other party's body. The great dragon sword Qi rushed in. Chapter 59:18. Within Gu Santong's body, the crimson centipede was destroying his body. However, at this moment, he was struck by a piercingly cold sword aura. It let out a shrill cry. Then, the sword Qi flew out of its body with it in tow. There was a flash of light, and the void was torn apart. The two halves of the crimson centipede fell to the ground. The ground instantly rotted. What was that? When the surrounding people saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically. This demonic beast was too terrifying. This was the poison in Gu Santong's body. As for Gu Santong, he was vomiting blood. However, his expression eased a lot. Santong, Lu Ruoli cried out in surprise. Lin Xian said, "His life is no longer in danger, but his body is very weak. But don't worry, with me here, he will recover in a while." A while? No longer in danger? When Master He heard this, he was stunned. He was also known as the divine hand of the holy doctor. His medical skills were superb. He had once examined Gu Santong's body and found that there was no way to save him. However, this person cured him with a few simple moves. He did not believe it. However, at this moment, Gu Santong opened his eyes. The crimson centipede in his body was gone. In addition, he had the nourishment of the heavenly spring of life, so his injuries were recovering quickly. After Gu Santong opened his eyes, he asked, "Am I dead?" "Santong, you are not dead. It was this gentleman who saved you." Lu Ruoli pointed at Lin Xian and said. Gu Santong looked up at Lin Xian and was stunned. "It's you?" Lin Xian said. "Long time no see." They knew each other. The surrounding people were shocked. Master He, on the other hand, was stunned. His body began to tremble. Gu Santong was cured. A dying man was cured in an instant. In the next moment, he came before Lin Xian and knelt down. "Greetings, young master." Master He's disciple was stunned. His master knelt down. He was so scared that he also knelt on the ground, his body trembling. The elders of the Santong mansion were also dumbfounded. This was Master He. Countless experts had to respect him when they saw him. Sometimes, even the quasi-emperors would have to invite them over. But now, he was actually kneeling in front of this young man. Who exactly was this young man? However, Master He said, "Young master, please bestow upon me the divine medical skills." Lin Xian shook his head. "Get up. I don't know anything about medicine." "No?" Master He was stunned. If he didn't know how could he bring a dying man back to life? Lin Xian said, "I used absolute strength. You can't learn this kind of strength." Absolute strength? Master He's pupils shrank. Previously, he had mocked Lin Xian, saying that he was only good at fighting and had no ability to save people. However, at that moment, he had used his absolute strength to save someone. This was an existence that dared to snatch people from the Grim Reaper. Could it be those people from the legends? Thinking of this, he was even more in awe. This old man was foolish and offended young master. "I hope young master can forgive me." "Nothing much, you may leave." Lin Xian waved his hand. It was only then that Master He stood up and respectfully retreated to the side. Lin Xian looked at Gu Santong and said, "No matter what happened before, what did you go through? Who is your enemy? I'm here, and you're safe." Gu Santong was relieved. He knew Lin Xian's strength. He looked around and said, "Where's Yanran?" His daughter, Yanran, was not here. Lu Ruoli said that Yanran had gone out to find the antidote for you. What if she was ambushed by the Shuiyuan clanspeople? Hurry and find her." The elders wanted to move, but soon stopped because Yanran and the others had returned. "Mother, I'm back." Yanran was useless. She couldn't find the antidote to save father. Yanran was very disappointed as she came to the main hall. However, when she saw Gu Santong in the main hall, she was completely stunned. "Father, you're awake. Have you recovered from your injuries?" She ran overexcitedly. She was so happy that she cried. It was this young master who saved your father. Lu Ruoli pointed at Lin Xian and said. Gu Yanran turned her head. When she saw Lin Xian, she was stunned. "It's you? Thank you, young master." She recognized Lin Xian. Lin Xian was also stunned. This girl is Gu Santong's daughter. When he saved her, he felt that her aura was familiar. However, he did not investigate in detail. He did not expect her to be the daughter of an old friend. Gu Santong laughed. "Why are you calling him young master? You should call him uncle. He's my brother." Gu Yanran was stunned. This young man was her uncle. The elders around them were also shocked. To think that their mansion master would have such a powerful brother. This was truly surprising. Santong, I want to talk to you in private. Goose Santong nodded and said, Everyone, I'm fine now. Please go back and rest. Yes, the elders around them all retreated. In the room, only Lin Xian, Goose Santong, and Lu Ruoli were left, as well as Gu Yanran. Lu Ruoli also wanted to leave with Yanran. Lin Xian said, No need. This matter is related to your family. Lu Ruoli was stunned. Goose Santong seemed to know something. He clenched his fist. The reason for that was because he was able to sense the auras of the old men behind him. It was the aura of the void. They were from the Gu family. Lin Xian waved his hand and gestured for the experts from the Gu family to come over. He said, Santong, you should know me, right? Gu Santong took a deep breath, stood up, and bowed respectfully. Gu family disciple Gu Santong greets the elders. Gu Yanran was stunned. Who are these people? The elder in front said in a low voice, Santong, we're late. Then he looked at Gu Yanran and said with a smile, we're the void emperor of the Gu family. I'm the Gu family patriarch. Gu Yanran was stunned. Gu family? Isn't that a great emperor family? That's a high and mighty existence. Why are they here? The next sentence shocked Gu Yanran even more. The Gu family patriarch said, Your father, Gu Santong, is a disciple of our family. Naturally, you're also a member of the Gu family. Gu Yanran was stunned. Although she knew spatial mystiques, she was a disciple of a great emperor family. Her father had never told her this. Santong, you've suffered. Another grand elder walked over, filled with emotion. Indeed, Gu Santong and Lin Xian were brothers, and Lin Xian still looked young and handsome. But Gu Santong's face was old, and his hair was white. It was obvious that he had suffered a lot over the years. The Gu family patriarch said, Santong, you've suffered, but it's all in the past. From now on, you're the Gu family patriarch. We'll train you with all our might. Hearing this, Gu Santong was stunned. Gu Yanran and Lu Ruoli were even more shocked. What kind of status was the young patriarch of a great emperor family? Gu Santong's eyes were red. He couldn't believe it, and he looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, They're right. From now on, you're the young patriarch of the Gu family. Also, I won't let go of whoever plotted against you. Lin Xian's eyes exploded with cold, killing intent. The Gu family patriarch also nodded. That's right. They dared to attack a member of the Gu family. They really don't know what's good for them. We must avenge them. Chapter 59:19. Next, Gu Santong recounted his experiences in the past few years. Lin Xian sighed after hearing this. The elders of the Gu family were even more heartbroken. Such a prodigy had wandered outside without the support of a family. He had built a powerful mansion on his own and dominated the area. However, the techniques that he cultivated were limited. So, he was only at the peak of the great saint realm. However, if no one had attacked him, he would have become a quasi-emperor. When the Gu family head saw that Gu Santong had only cultivated an ordinary mystic ability of the Gu family, he sighed even more. If he could grow to such a level with such an ordinary technique, his future would be limitless if he was given the great emperor's ancient scripture. The Gu family leader also explained some matters of the family and swore that he would do his best to nurture Gu Santong. What happened next was simple. After Gu Santong was done, he would go to the Gu family to receive the great emperor's ancient scripture. Gu Yanran and Lu Ruoli were also happy. The family was happy. Gu Santong even held a banquet to receive Lin Xian and the Gu family. The atmosphere was very lively. The Santong mansion was once again decorated with lanterns and streamers. The previous dull atmosphere was swept away, and the mansion was brightly lit. All sorts of laughter could be heard. On the other side, the Shuiyuan clan. After Shuiyuan Xiong made his move, he no longer paid attention. However, on this day, a guard came to report, not good. The Gu family is very happy. Happy? Shui Yuanba heard this and sneered. Gu Santong is dead. What are they happy about? Have they gone mad? Someone said, Gu Santong is not dead. He seems to have been saved. Saved? Who? Could it be that Master He's? He doesn't have that ability. Shui Yuanhao also said, Uncle, what should we do? We can't let this old man live. Otherwise, we can't complete our plan. Shui Yuanba said, It's simple. Send some people. Since he's not dead, send him to hell. Soon, the Shui Yuan clan sent their experts, 5 peak great saints, in addition to some other experts. This lineup was enough to sweep through the Santong mansion. Therefore, the Shui Yuan clan was full of confidence. At the Santong mansion, a banquet was being held. It was extremely lively. However, at this moment, a thunderous voice sounded from outside. Several powerful forces pressed down, causing the faces of the Santong mansion's people to change greatly. A terrifying aura. Was an expert about to attack? Their faces were filled with shock. Such power was enough to make them unable to resist. Gu Yanran and Lu Ruoli were also worried. Although he had joined the Gu family now, however, they had never personally witnessed the might of a martial monarch's clan. Gu Santong's face darkened. Are these people here again? The Crimson Dragon said, Is this the Shui Yuan family you mentioned? It was just a small clan, so he could just wipe it out. Lin Xian looked outside and said, Don't worry about it. Let's continue. It's just a few ants. Little ant? Uncle Lin, could it be that the people from outside aren't strong enough? Lin Xian said, Indeed, they weren't strong. There were only a few of them, and they were all at the peak of the Great Sage Realm. Was he at the peak of the Great Sage Realm, an ant? Gu Yanran was stunned. Even the surrounding elders were speechless. To be honest, their mansion master was only at the peak of the Great Sage Realm. Many of them were only Saint Kings. In their eyes, the peak of the Great Sage Realm was a godlike existence. But now, in front of Lin Xian, they were just ants. Gu Yanran said, Uncle Lin, the peak of the Great Sage Realm is very powerful. My father is at the peak of the Great Sage Realm. Lin Xian smiled. Little girl, I didn't mean to look down on your father. Your father was limited by his cultivation technique and didn't have a more advanced technique. Otherwise, he wouldn't have just reached this level. Don't worry. After joining the Gu family, your father will cultivate the martial monarch's superpower. He will soon become a quasi-emperor, and even surpass it. As they spoke, the 5 peak of the Great Sage Realm outside had already torn open the array and charged in. The martial artists of the Santong mansion couldn't resist at all. At this moment, the Gu family's mansion master made his move. He was very angry, so he personally made a move. With a wave of his hand, several spatial cracks appeared in the sky and shrouded the peak of the Great Sage Realm. In the next moment, screams sounded. The 5 peak of the Great Sage Realm were split in half by the spatial cracks and fell to the ground. The group of martial artists behind him were torn apart. With a raise of his hand, these people died. When Gu Yanran saw this scene, she exclaimed, What a terrifying spatial law! The elders of the Santong mansion were also stupefied. These people's methods were simply like gods. Only these people? How boring! The Crimson Dragon sneered. Everyone continued to eat and chat. On the other side, the people of the Shui Yuan clan were waiting for news, but what came was news of their deaths. They were really stunned. Shui Yuanhao said, What did you say? 5 peak of the Great Sage Realm are all dead? That's impossible, right? Gu Santong had such a fan. Shui Yuanba also frowned. It seems that Santong has invited an expert to be his backer. No wonder he's so arrogant. But no matter how powerful he is, can he be stronger than us? The expert behind us is a supreme being. Next, I'm going to use my real trump card and invite the Array King. I want to see how the Santong Mansion will withstand the Array King's attack. The banquet continued at the Santong Mansion, but at this time, thunder sounded in the sky again. The people of the Santong Mansion all frowned, but with Lin Xian and the others' help, they were also confident. Many people sneered. They don't know what's good for them. After this banquet, we'll destroy them. Boom. But at this time, the thunder in the sky streaked across and directly tore their array to pieces. Oh no! The elders' faces changed. This is an array. The thunder in the sky is an array. A master of array is coming. Above the clouds, two figures stood in the sky. One was an old man, and the other was a young man. The old man was called the Array King and was at the level of the Five-Crown King. The young man was his disciple and also a master of array. His strength was at the peak of the great sage realm. The young man was called Han Qing. He said, "Master, Goose Santong of the Santong Mansion is only at the peak of the great sage realm. There's no need for you to help. I'll destroy him." The Array King nodded. He was very confident in his disciple. Then Han Qing made his move. He formed a thunder array and began to attack. Sure enough, the opponent's defense was torn apart. I'm Han Qing, the Array King's disciple. This time, with my master's esteemed Array King here, your Santong Mansion should kneel and submit. Below, the experts' faces changed when they heard this. What? The Array King? That's the Quintuple Crown King. He's at the level of a quasi-emperor. We can't stop someone like him. They were all terrified. Lin Xian sneered. Oh, again? This time, it's interesting. But he's still an ant. The Quintuple Crown King isn't worth my time. The Crimson Dragon said, "I'll do it. He dares to play with arrays in front of me. I'll show him what a real array is." The Crimson Dragon waved its claws. Immediately, a fire array soared into the sky. Chapter 59:20. In the sky, Han Qing was still sneering, "I'll give you half an hour to think. If you don't kneel down and surrender, I'll destroy your souls." As soon as he finished speaking, the fire below rushed into the sky. A fire dragon soared into the sky and directly enveloped him. Damn it! He roared and tried to resist, but in an instant he turned into ashes. Was he dead? The people below were stunned, and the Array King's pupils shrank. His disciple was dead. He checked carefully and found that his disciple had turned into ashes. Not even a trace of him was left. Damn it! He roared crazily. "Who is it? How dare you kill my disciple?" He attacked personally. The thunder in the sky became even more terrifying. It turned into a 9-headed thunder beast, roaring to the sky. Suddenly, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The entire Santong Mansion was swaying in the wind and rain, and would collapse at any time. The Crimson Dragon waved its claws, and immediately froze the mansion. A layer of sky appeared in the mansion, forming a defense and blocking these attacks. When the Array King in the sky saw this scene, his pupils shrank. It's an array. It seems that there is an array master below. But you're courting death if you want to compete with me in array skills. I'll let you know that my title of Array King is not for nothing. Thunder God Sword Array. The thunder in the sky kept spreading, and the array quickly condensed. Then it turned into a giant figure, holding a giant thunder sword and slashing down. No, when the strong people below saw this scene, they all went crazy. This was an attack from a quasi-emperor, and it was a combined attack with a super array. Under this attack, the entire Santong Mansion would be turned into ashes. They even wanted to escape. Even Gu Yenron's face was pale. They had never seen such an attack. It was completely out of their expectations. What should they do? She was anxious. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Don't worry. This kind of attack is just an ant's attack. Watch. It won't cause any harm to us." The Crimson Dragon also said, "Little girl, watch how Ben Wong breaks his array." The Crimson Dragon soared into the sky and roared, "You dare to call yourself the Thunder God Array with this little array? Let me show you what a true lightning array formation is." He waved his claws, and a formation was formed. Above the formation, there was a terrifying thunder circling around. Then a thunder dragon was formed. "Go. Tell him the power of Ray." Boom. The thunder dragon roared and flew forward. At the same time, the enormous lightning sword in the sky descended. The two collided. "Die for me." The Formation King roared, his thunderous voice resounding across the land. The Thunder Dragon's claw split the Thunder Longsword apart. At the same time, it tore the Thunder Giant apart. Then it enveloped the Array King. No, what kind of formation was this? The Array King was stupefied. How could his array be broken so easily? How was this possible? Was the other party's attainment in formations even greater than his? Could the other party be a quasi-emperor as well? Was it the even more terrifying 6 Crown Kings or 7 Crown Kings? He turned around to flee. However, in an instant, his body was torn to pieces by the lightning dragon. He couldn't accept it. He died in despair. The lightning in the sky was still spreading. The Crimson Dragon also retreated and came back. He raised his wine cup and said, "Come, come, drink and eat meat." Gu Yanran asked, "Uncle Divine Dragon, why don't you fight?" The Crimson Dragon said, "Little girl, this guy is dead. The battle is over." Ah, Gu Yanran was stunned, and the surrounding elders were also stunned. No way. That was the Array King, the 5 Crown Kings, with the strength of a quasi-emperor and superb formation skills. Everyone knew about the second star area. How could he have been killed so easily in one move? They waited for a long time. When the lightning outside disappeared, there was no sign of the Array King. There were only a few pieces falling from the sky. Someone exclaimed, "This is the Array King's crutch." He was really dead. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. A quasi-emperor, level quintuple crown king, was actually killed in one move. It was too unbelievable. They felt like they were dreaming. Lin Xian put down his wine cup and said, "Is this all you've got?" He looked at the Gu clan leader and said, "You'd better make a move and capture those people from the Water Abyss clan." The Gu clan leader nodded and said, "Okay." He waved his hand and merged into the void. Gu Santong exclaimed, "Void Palm." This was a unique technique. He also knew it, but he only knew the most basic. He hadn't learned the more advanced ones. At that moment, with the Gu family's clan chief using it, it was truly frightening to the extreme. The other elders were stunned. They didn't seem to have sensed anything. Gu Yanran was also stunned and wanted to ask. Gu Santong said, "Wait and see. The Water Abyss clan, Shueyuan Ba and Shueyuan Hao were waiting. This time, it should be foolproof." However, the guards in the distance were so scared that they knelt on the ground. News came from the front. The Array King was dead. What? Shueyuan Hao was stunned. Shueyuan Ba's pupils also dilated. Impossible. That was a quasi-emperor and a master of array formations. How could he die? Even if he couldn't beat them, he could still leave calmly. How could he die? He was going crazy. What kind of person had Goose Santong invited? Suddenly, the void above them split open. A giant palm suddenly enveloped them. Damn it, they didn't even know someone was attacking them. They wanted to resist, but it was useless. The giant palm grabbed Shueyuan Hao and Shueyuan Ba, and then disappeared. The surrounding guards were scared out of their wits. What kind of technique is this? It was too terrifying. Santong Mansion. Everyone was still discussing. What happened? Suddenly, at this moment, they saw the Gu family's clan leader retract his hand. At the same time, the void split open and two figures fell. They were Shui Yuan Hao and Shui Yuan Ba. The two of them should be at the Water Abyss clan now, but they were captured here. Heavens, the Water Abyss clan is very far from our mansion. Even if they flew, it would take a while. Now, they were captured? Everyone was stunned. Gu Yanran's face was also filled with shock. Was this the power of space? It's incredible. Can I learn it in the future? Yanran was excited. The leader of the Gu family said, "Of course you can. You can also learn something more advanced than this, the spatial supernatural power." Really? That's great. Gu Yanran was very happy. Shui Yuanba and Shui Yuanha regained their senses. They shouted angrily, "It's you! Let us go quickly and kowtow to us. Otherwise you're dead." Shui Yuanhao roared, "Are you crazy?" When the toad heard this, it immediately swung its palm over and smashed Shui Yuanhao's face into pieces. Shui Yuanhao was terrified. His body was broken, and his soul was about to be extinguished. But at this time, Lin Xian waved his hand, and the power of reincarnation stared at Shui Yuanhao's soul. "It's too easy to kill you like this." Lin Xian said, "Toad, Ruzalong, control your strength. Don't kill him. I still have something to ask them." "Oh, I made a mistake. Who knew he was so trash that he couldn't even block my slap?" "I'll control it," Toad said with a smile. Shui Yuanhao went crazy. "Who are these people? Are they gods? Why am I like an ant in front of them?" Chapter 59:21. "Uncle, save me." Shui Yuanhao roared crazily. "Nephew, don't worry, I'll save you." Shui Yuan Ba roared angrily. "You." The Crimson Dragon, the Toad, and the others sneered disdainfully. As for Lin Xian, he directly ignored the other party. "You dare to look down on me?" Shui Yuan Ba roared angrily. The power of his body erupted, and the aura of a quasi-emperor spread out. So powerful, he's actually a quasi-emperor. When the elders of Santong Mansion felt this aura, they began to tremble in fear. Even Gu Santong was surprised. "When did you become a quasi-emperor? There are still many things you don't know." Shui Yuan Ba smiled wryly. "Gu Santong, today, all of you will die." "Great, uncle. Hurry up and make them suffer a fate worse than death." Next to him, Shui Yuanhao also roared ferociously. He saw hope. Shui Yuan Ba slapped out with the power of a quasi-emperor, suppressing everything. Boom! The toad attacked again, slapping Shui Yuan Ba to the ground. Countless cracks appeared on his body. At this moment, the world was shocked, and everyone's eyes were filled with horror. What did they see? That was a quasi-emperor. How terrifying! He was actually knocked down with a single slap and was completely powerless to fight back. Too weak. The toad shook his head. "Is there anyone stronger?" Shui Yuanhao was so scared that he couldn't speak. Shui Yuan Ba was also stunned. After a long time, he screamed, "You dare to hurt me?" The toad slapped the other party until his face was smashed. "Hurt you? I still want to torture you." The Crimson Dragon also made a move, torturing Shui Yuan Ba until he was half dead. But this power did not kill the other party. This made Shui Yuan Ba feel as if he had fallen into hell. That kind of despair made him go crazy. "Let me go, or you're dead." The toad sneered. "Dead? Your Shui Yuan clan is just trash in front of me." "Presumptuous. Do you know who is behind our clan? Let me tell you, it's a supreme. Can you afford to offend him? A supreme can kill you 100 times with one finger." Supreme martial artist. The people of Santong Mansion were stunned. Even the toad and the Crimson Dragon were stunned. They all looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. You said supreme martial artist. What supreme martial artist? He was also surprised. He didn't expect that a small water abyss clan from the second astral realm would have connections with a supreme being. This really surprised him. Kid, why are you scared? If you're afraid, kneel down and kowtow to me. If I'm satisfied, I can let you die a quick death. Otherwise, offending me is equivalent to offending the utmost exalted. You can't bear the consequences. The surrounding people were also terrified. No matter how powerful Lin Xian and the others were, could they stand a chance against a martial saint? Back then, Jizun was an existence that swept across the universe. If a great emperor didn't appear who could suppress Jizun. Therefore, they were all afraid. When Lin Xian heard this, he laughed out loud. You still dare to threaten me? Not to mention you even if a supreme martial artist really came. You don't dare to be arrogant in front of me. It can't be, right? Even a supreme martial artist had to bow his head in front of the other party. What was the identity of this young man? The surrounding people were shocked. Shui Yuanba, however, roared crazily. You're courting death, kid. Even if you're pretending, you shouldn't pretend in front of a supreme martial artist. If you dare to offend a supreme martial artist, you'll definitely feel worse than death. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly, too lazy to talk nonsense with the other party. The reincarnation light in his eyes enveloped the other party's soul. Shui Yuanba still wanted to clamor, but when he saw the other party's eyes, he was stunned. His soul trembled. At this moment, he directly knelt down. Oh, God, what kind of eyes were these? This eyes, as if a god was looking at him. He didn't have any power to resist at all. Until now, his heart was incomparably terrified. He was already a quasi-emperor, but he was suppressed and had no power to fight back. Who exactly was this young man? Then, under the Rinnegan eye, Shui Yuanba's eyes rolled back, and his soul didn't resist at all. Not long after, he fell down. Lin Xian retracted his gaze with a strange expression. Next to him, the Crimson Dragon asked, Kid, how is it? Can you tell which supreme martial artist it is? Lin Xian shook his head. No, this guy doesn't seem to be the leader of the Water Abyss clan. I only know that there is a supreme martial artist, but who exactly is it? He didn't know yet. He also had an elder brother who was the real leader of the Water Abyss clan. There was another one. He could just grab him directly. The Gu clan's patriarch was ready to use the Great Void handprint again. However, Lin Xian said, this time, I'm going to go personally. After all, it's possible that a supreme martial artist will appear. I also want to know which supreme martial artist it is. Lin Xian's eyes burst with an extremely sharp light. Interesting. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad were excited. The Gu clan is also willing to go. After Gu Yanran and the others heard this, their eyes were even more fiery. Dad, let's go too? Gu Santong nodded, and the group prepared to go. Water Origin clan. As for Shui Yuanba and Shui Yuan Hao, they were directly suppressed by the Toad. The group took the two of them into the air and flew into the distance. Water Origin clan. At this moment, they were also extremely frightened. Patriarch, not good. The young master is missing. The second leader is also missing. Countless terrified voices were heard. The powerhouses of the Water Origin clan all came to the front of the secret chamber, and they knelt on the ground, shouting nonstop. In the secret chamber, Shui Yuan Xiong opened his eyes, his brows tightly knitted together. What happened? How dare you disturb my cultivation? However, when he heard the situation outside, he instantly walked out of the secret chamber. What did you say? Hao is missing. Shui Yuanba is also missing? These two, one was his son, the other was his younger brother. How could they disappear? Especially his younger brother, who was already a quasi-emperor. He didn't know. He only knew that in the sky, A large palm suddenly appeared and grabbed them away. Great void handprint. After Shui Yuan Xiong heard this, his brows tightly knitted together. This is a spatial supernatural power. Could it be the Gu clan? He had always suspected that behind Gu Santong was a great emperor clan. He didn't expect that it was really as he guessed. Soon, he snorted coldly. So, what if it's the Gu clan? I have a supreme being behind me. I'm not afraid of them. How dare they capture my younger brother and son? I'll make them pay a painful price. He prepared to go to the Santong mansion. However, at this moment, in the sky, there was a sudden clap of thunder. Then, dark clouds covered the city, and the entire sky and earth darkened. Countless people felt an oppressive pressure. The powerhouses of the Water Origin clan looked up at the sky, their faces full of fear. What's going on? Is a storm coming? Is it night? Shui Yuan Xiong looked up at the sky. It's a dark and windy night, a good time to kill. Gu Santong, you're still alive after being hit by the blood fiend centipede. You're really lucky. But this time, I'll take your life with my own hands. A biting, cold, murderous intent appeared in his eyes. He waved his hand, ready to attack. However, at this moment, the Water Origin clan began to shake violently. Someone outside screamed, "Oh no! Patriarch, someone broke in. They broke our formation." What's going on? Shui Yuan Xiong was stunned. Who is it? They don't know what's good for them. How dare they come to my clan and behave so atrociously? Chapter 59:22. Rumbling sounds rang out as the array kept shattering. In the next moment, they saw a group of people walk in. The leader was a young man, and beside him were two strange-looking beasts. Behind him was a large group of people. These people were very fast, and it didn't take long for them to reach the front. Everyone turned their gazes to the front. They didn't recognize the unfamiliar youth in front. But when they saw Gu Santong, they cried out in surprise. Shui Yuanxing's pupils shrank. Gu Santong, you're completely healed? He looked as if he had seen a ghost after being hit by the bloodbath centipede. Even if he didn't die, it was impossible for him to recover so quickly. But now, Gu Santong's energy was surging, and he wasn't injured at all. This was completely different from what he had expected. What was going on? Gu Santong also walked out. He said, "You framed me and wanted to take over my mansion. That's impossible. Just give up. Are you threatening me? Ha ha ha. Who do you think you are? How dare you threaten me?" Shui Yuanxing snorted and suddenly attacked. Shui Yuanxing was even more terrifying. He was a quasi-emperor and a six-crown king. His strength was very strong. His palm reached Gu Santong's side in an instant. Santong still hadn't moved, but a spatial crack appeared beside him. It directly swallowed the power. Spatial power. What a terrifying power. This isn't your power. Shui Yuanxing cried out in surprise. He stared at an elder behind Gu Santong and frowned. "You attacked just now, didn't you? Are you from the Void Gu family?" "Yes, I am from the Gu family. Santong is also a disciple of the Gu family." "You attacked the Gu family. Have you thought of the consequences? Kneel, kowtow, and admit your guilt. So, what if you're from the Gu family? Since you dared to come, I'll send you to hell." With a wave of his hand, the surrounding experts rushed over in an overwhelming manner. As long as the order was given, they would attack. At this time, the Toad and the Crimson Dragon walked out. The Toad said, "Old thing, don't you want your son and brother to live?" He waved his claws, and Shi Yuanha and Shui Yuanba screamed crazily, "Father, save me! Elder brother, kill them and call Jizun over. Damn it, let them go." Shui Yuan Xiong was furious. "Looks like you guys are courting death. Originally, I didn't want to use some of my trump cards. However, since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Shui Yuan Xiong waved his hand and said, "Open that array formation for me." Hearing this, the surrounding elders nodded their heads. Then, with a flash of their bodies, they disappeared. At the same time, the entire mansion began to shake violently. 9 pillars shot up into the sky. It was a pillar of light that carried a black aura. When it appeared, it was as if the gates of hell had been opened. Countless people felt fear and despair. What? Gu Santong's pupils shrank. Gu Yanran and Lu Ruoli both had pale faces. If they hadn't witnessed it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have known how terrifying the Aqua tribe was. It was far beyond their expectations. Fortunately, Lin Xian and the others had arrived. If they did not come, even if they were given 10 lives, they would not be able to contend against the other party. Thinking of this, they broke out in cold sweat. "Ha, what do you think? Did you see that? This is the true power of the Aqua tribe. So what if you have more people? So what if you have the Gu tribe? This power is enough to kill you all. Charge!" The 9 pillars of light rushed over. The terrifying aura of death formed a sea of death that covered the sky and the earth. The experts from the Gu clan also frowned. This power caused them to be alarmed. This Water Abyss clan was truly not simple. The Gu tribe leader snorted. He wanted to join forces. However, at this moment, Lin Xian waved his sleeve, and the Taiji diagram flew out. It spun in front of him. The Taiji diagram gave birth to yin and yang. The yin and yang fish spun continuously, sucking in all the aura of death. In the next moment, the yin and yang fish swallowed all the aura of death. The world returned to its original calm. How could this be? The Aqua tribe elders in the distance were terrified. They had experienced how terrifying the aura of death was. Even a quasi-emperor would definitely die here. Yet that young man had managed to block it so easily. What was going on? How did you do it? Even Aqua Yuanxiong was terrified. This was just a casual attack from me. Was it that difficult? Lin Xian waved his sleeve again. The Taiji diagram spun in reverse, and the yin and yang fish exploded. The aura of death that had just been absorbed surged out wildly. He was giving them a taste of their own medicine. Immediately, it covered the entire Aqua tribe. The geniuses, experts, and elders of the Aqua tribe all screamed crazily. "No, my leg has turned into a pile of bones. Help, please. My life force is draining away. Who can help me?" Many people ran away. However, under the aura of death, they turned into bones one by one. In the blink of an eye, countless experts died. Only Aqua Yuanxiong was left standing in front. Aqua Yuanhao and Aqua Yuanba were completely terrified when they saw this scene. They were all dead. What kind of technique was this? They trembled. Even Aqua Yuanxiong's pupils shrank. What a good technique. I didn't expect to meet such a powerful young man here. However, it's a pity that you're up against me. Young man, are you ready to die? As his voice fell, the power in his body completely erupted. A terrifying wave of the law of water swept across the surroundings. The sea roared as if it had turned into a sea god. The endless sword of the sea rushed over in an overwhelming manner. This was a fatal blow that terrified the people on the other side. The people of the Gu family were also prepared to create a large crack to resist. However, Lin Xian sent out a palm strike toward him. The golden palm was like a sun god that evaporated all the seawater. Countless laws of water disappeared in front of him. The slap penetrated all the divine abilities. It hit Aqua Yuanxiong. Aqua Yuanxiong was sent flying and torn into pieces. Puff! He vomited a large mouthful of blood and was dumbfounded. The pain almost drove him crazy. The sword of the sea was his ultimate technique. It was the power that he had cultivated for countless years. However, in front of this young man, it was so weak. Damn it, impossible! He roared crazily. However, his body was already smashed, and he couldn't muster any strength. "What did you do to me?" He was terrified beyond belief. Did the other party send him flying with one move? In the next moment, his soul let out a shrill voice. "Why aren't you attacking?" Everyone was stunned. Who was he talking to? There was no one else in the Aqua Clan. All of a sudden, the void split open and two beams of light shot out rapidly. In an instant, they charged towards Lin Xian. They were extremely fast, and their strength was far beyond Aqua Yuan Xiong's. Gu Santong and the others were stunned. Did the Aqua Clan still have such a hidden expert? Boom. Two extremely terrifying laws rushed towards Lin Xian's head. Lin Xian laughed coldly. He clenched his hand into a fist and punched out. With a boom, the sea was instantly pierced through. The sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. The void in front of Lin Xian was completely shattered. It couldn't withstand the power of this punch. The two figures were also sent flying. Their bodies shattered and turned into a bloody mist. Chapter 59:23. The two young masters. They were injured. Shui Yuanxing cried out in horror when he saw this scene. These two people were stronger than him, and their identities were more terrifying than his. They were the two disciples of a supreme being, but they were shattered by a single punch. The two people also roared crazily. They turned into black and red blood mists, which were abnormally ferocious. "I can't gather my strength. Damn it, what did you do to me?" These two people were crazy. They came out strong, but before they showed up, they were crippled. This feeling made them despair. "Kid, who are you?" The black mist next to them, surrounded by black blood, roared crazily. "We are the disciples of a supreme being. You crippled us, which means you are an enemy of the supreme being. Kneel down, cripple your own arms, kowtow, and wait for the supreme being to punish you. No one in the world can save you." Another patch of red blood mist also let out a resentful voice. Were the disciples of a supreme being very powerful? Lin Xian walked forward. "Even your master wouldn't dare to be so arrogant to me here. Impossible? How dare you challenge my master?" The two people roared crazily. Lin Xian raised his head and glanced at the two people. Immediately, their souls cracked. It was 10 times worse than before. "How could your soul be so powerful?" "Impossible. Your soul is almost comparable to a supreme being." "Who are you? Could it be that you are also a supreme being?" They were all crazy. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. To be honest, this surprised him. The two punches just now should be able to kill these three people. However, these three people on the verge of death actually came back to life. Although they were injured, they didn't die. Even though Lin Xian had gone easy on them, they weren't the only ones who could withstand it. This showed that there was a force in these three people that saved their lives. This force should be the supreme being behind them. Lin Xian tested it with a glance just now. It was a bit similar to the power of reincarnation. However, it was not exactly the same. So, what kind of power was it? He wasn't sure yet. However, he did not mind it at all. All he had to do was to find that utmost exalted. Lin Xian glanced at him again and cast a soul illusion. He said indifferently, "If I attack you now, would your supreme being dare to come out?" The two of them were extremely miserable. Shui Yuan Xiong, who was at the back, was terrified. He was still so arrogant after torturing the supreme martial artist's disciple like this. Was this fellow really not afraid of supreme martial artists? "Damn it, my master won't forgive you. Master, please come out and kill him." The two of them howled miserably. From the depths of their souls, a signal for help was sent out. Whoosh! In the distance, a sinister wind suddenly blew, causing people to tremble and even their souls to sway. The people from the Gu family also exclaimed, "What a terrifying aura! What is it?" Gu Yanran said, "Could it be that the gates of hell have opened?" She hid behind Gu Santong. Everyone's hair stood on end. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked ahead. In front of them, a group of people walked out. These people wore ancient armor and held ancient weapons in their hands. They quickly walked over. Wherever they passed, it was extremely cold. These were Yin soldiers. After seeing this, the toad exclaimed. The Crimson Dragon also gasped, "Why are we seeing this kind of thing again? What kind of force was behind this Water Abyss clan? How did they get involved with the Yin soldiers?" At this time, another figure appeared. 4 Yin soldiers carrying a palanquin floated over. The palanquin was white and extremely miserable, making one's scalp tingle at a glance. However, the 2 blood mists exclaimed, "Master, it's great. Master, please save me. Master, kill him and capture this kid. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death." A cold snort came from the white palanquin. "Useless trash, you've embarrassed me." The 2 blood mists were so frightened that they did not dare to speak again. "Although you are trash, you are still my disciples. My disciples can only be taught by me. No one else is allowed to interfere. Whoever makes a move will have their hands chopped off." With an order, a Yin soldier in front suddenly pulled out a long saber. The black long saber slashed down at Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood there and did not move at all. He let the saber slash down and hit his body, making a sky-shaking sound. The long saber broke, and the Yin soldier who attacked was knocked back, cracks appearing on his body. "What a strong physique!" Countless people exclaimed, and even the person in the palanquin was surprised. "No wonder you are so arrogant. It turns out that you are a body refinement master. However, no matter how strong you are you my opponent?" He waved his hand, and more Yin soldiers walked up. However, Lin Xian said, pretending to be mysterious, "Get out here." He stretched out the 9-yong big hand and grabbed forward. Above the palm, there was a bright fire of the sun. It melted all the cold aura. The whole world turned into a world of flames. Those Yin soldiers were also sent flying backward and turned into ashes one by one. And this palm tore the palanquin into pieces. The person inside roared, "Get out of here." He did not expect Lin Xian to be so arrogant and powerful that he could destroy his Yin soldiers. The person inside shot out a black shadow, which collided with Lin Xian's palm. Then the shadow retreated, and Lin Xian also withdrew his palm. He looked up. "I want to see what kind of ghost you are." He frowned when he saw it. Behind him, Gu Yanran and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale. It turned out that this was a short old man, very short. However, he was dressed in black, and his body was covered with skeletons. His eyes were blood red. It made people scared at a glance. Not to mention Gu Yanran, such a girl. Even the patriarch of the Gu family gasped, "What the hell is this? Kid, who are you? Do you know the consequences of going against me?" The old man who came out stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. "What consequences?" The old man's face was hideous. Lin Xian laughed with his hands behind his back. "Really? My name is Lin Wudi. Try to attack me." "What? You are Lin Wudi?" The old man's pupils shrank. This name seemed to have magical power. Shui Yuanxiong and the others almost fainted in fear. The 2 clouds of blood mist also roared in horror. "You are the legendary Lin Wudi. Why are you here?" They were truly terrified. Even the people from Santong Mansion were astonished. Lin Wudi, the legendary successor of the 9 sons. It was said that he had hunted down the great emperor and defeated a supreme master. God, he is actually a friend of our mansion master. No wonder he is so strong. No wonder he looks down on a supreme master. It turns out that he is Lin Wudi. This Uncle Lin is Lin Wudi? Gu Yanran was also stunned. She only knew the name Lin Xian, but now she also knew the title of Lin Xian. Her father knew such a master. It seemed that her father used to be a great genius. Lin Xian looked forward and said, "Yes, I am Lin Wudi. Do you want to fight with me?" The old man in black looked strange. He suddenly sneered. "So it is Taoist Lin. It is really a misunderstanding. My two disciples didn't know the difference between life and death. They offended you, so they deserve to be crippled. How about this? Our grudges are written off. How about it?" Chapter 59:24. Their grudges were written off. When the people around heard this, they were all stunned. Was this what a supreme being should say? Shouldn't a supreme being be able to sweep through the 8 wastelands and be fearless of everything? Why, in front of this young man, he actually retreated. The 2 blood mists were stunned. Their master bowed his head to someone for the first time, which made them feel unreal. After Lin Xian heard this, he laughed. "You come and go as you please. Don't you think it's a bit ridiculous?" The black-clothed old man, Netherworld Prime, darkened his face and said, "Then what do you want? Leave something, and I'll let you go." "Leave what?" "Leave your hands, get out of here. And don't let me see you again," Lin Xian said coldly. Netherworld Prime's pupils shrank, telling him to break his own arms. "Damn it, you've gone too far. Lin Wudi, you're too arrogant. I give you face, but it doesn't mean I'm afraid of you. You'd better take back what you said, or you'll have to bear the consequences." Lin Xian snorted coldly and took a step forward. "I think you're the one who doesn't know life from death." He threw out a punch. 9 suns' divine fist. The fist was like the sun, filling the sky and the earth with flames. The boundless aura made everyone incomparably terrified. Humph! Netherworld Prime, with a wave of his sleeve, also shot out black sea water to swallow the flames. Water and fire were tit for tat, and the 2 laws collided in the air, separating the universe. "You have some ability, but it's not enough. I've defeated more than one supreme being. Show me your true strength, otherwise you're not my opponent. If you want to see my true ability, I'll fulfill your wish." Netherworld Prime also knew that the young man in front of him was not easy to deal with. After all, he had a Mahayana divine body. With a wave of his right hand, a red pen appeared in his hand, and in his left hand, it condensed into a piece of black paper. "Lin Wudi, open your eyes wide and look carefully. How are you going to die?" The red pen in his hand seemed to drip blood, and he wrote the word Lin on the black paper. Boom! Thunder sounded from the 9th heaven. The sky fell, and the earth cracked, and the wind and clouds surged. Lin Xian seemed to have been hit by an unknown force. He actually retreated. "What happened?" the Crimson Dragon exclaimed. The members of the Gu family were also stunned. Was the power that suddenly appeared a spatial divine ability? The leader of the Gu family shook his head. It was not a spatial divine ability. It was another, more mysterious power. Lin Xian frowned as well. In the next instant, the Netherworld sovereign in front of him started writing again. Lin Xian felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He kept retreating, and cracks were about to appear on his body. At this time, the toad exclaimed, "This is the power of a curse. Kid, he's cursing you." Everyone exclaimed, "Curse, what a strange power." Lin Xian also frowned. Netherworld's sovereign sneered, "Lin Wudi, you are powerful, but there are also strong and weak supremes. Furthermore, I'm not someone you can imagine." The 2 balls of blood mist laughed proudly. "Kid, you are no match for Master. Kneel down, kowtow, and submit. To deal with you, Jizun took out the judgment pen and the book of life and death. What are you going to use to resist?" "Judge's pen, book of life and death." Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian's eyes also flickered. It was the other party's paper and pen. However, The words Book of Life and Death were too shocking. Wasn't this the legendary Book of Life and Death in the hands of the King of Hell? Anyone who was on the Book of Life and Death would die without a doubt. Kid, I only wrote one word, Lin, and you can't stand it. When I write your full name, you will really go to hell. Do you still dare to compete with me? Lin Xian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and smiled. The power of a curse is just SOSO. I'd like to see if you really have the legendary Book of Life and Death. Stepping on flames, he charged over like a bolt of lightning, charging towards the Nether Sovereign. Courting death, the Netherworld Sovereign put down the pen again, and the power of the mysterious curse rushed over. Lin Xian was shocked, but at this time, the dragon-shaped sword energy rushed out of his body. Cut for me, the sword slashed into the void. Thunder erupted between heaven and earth. Lin Xian retreated, and that mysterious power was blocked by him. You actually blocked it. The two clouds of blood mist were shocked. Shui Yuanxiong was also dumbfounded. This is impossible? They were all scared silly. The Netherworld Sovereign was also stunned. No one could block the power of the judge's pen and the Book of Life and Death. Go to hell. He frantically put down the pen. Blood kept spreading in the void, and the terrifying power rushed towards Lin Xian, wanting to take away Lin Xian's vitality. Lin Xian shouted coldly, and countless sword energy rushed out of his body. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a flaming sword god. The sharp sword light surrounded him and slashed at the unknown power. The sound of thunder kept ringing. Lin Xian really blocked it. He sneered. Just as oh. What a terrifying sword energy. The Netherworld Sovereign's face was cold. Damn it. Don't be complacent. He bit his finger and let his blood pour into the judge's pen. The judge's pen suddenly burst out. An endless blood-red light seemed to have descended from the sea of blood. The robe on the Netherworld Sovereign's body fluttered. His short stature seemed to have grown taller at this moment, causing everyone to look up at him. Gathering all his strength, he said, "Lin Wudi, die." This time, the power of the curse between heaven and earth was even more terrifying. The grayish-white aura kept rushing towards Lin Xian. Retreat. The people around were also terrified. They also felt that the vitality in their bodies was disappearing. The method was too terrifying. The toad shouted coldly and shot out poisonous fog, covering heaven and earth to resist. They retreated to the distance. Kid, be careful. Slash. Lin Xian flicked his finger, and the god-slaying sword flew out. The long sword carried endless murderous intent, causing the void to collapse. Lin Xian held the god-slaying sword. Suddenly, the long sword hummed, and a sword light spread out in the air. The entire void was split into two halves. Countless people were shocked. What a terrifying power! Gu Santong and the others were also surprised. Is this the power of the great dragon sword? It's terrifying. Boom. In the sky, the grayish-white curse power was cut in half by the sword and kept rolling in the air. Lin Xian was too strong, making Netherworld Prime keep retreating. His face instantly turned pale, and he even spat out a mouthful of blood, staining the Book of Life and Death. Master, the two clouds of blood fog exclaimed. Shui Yuanxiong was even more shocked. Senior, are you okay? Did the other party injure a prime? He was scared silly. What a sharp sword. The Netherworld Sovereign sucked in a breath of cold air. His expression became incomparably solemn. No wonder the other party was so arrogant before. The other party had the power of 10 Crown King. This power, even a prime, might not be able to block. In the heavens and the earth, the endless creatures, the powerhouses of the universe, are all at my disposal. The Netherworld Sovereign let out a cold shout as he opened up a Netherworld passage. Suddenly, from inside, Endless White Bones walked out. These were the powerhouses who had died in the past, summoned by him with a peerless great ability. Who is it? How dare you summon me? There were even a few voices that were extremely terrifying, and they were not convinced at all. Netherworld Prime, holding a page of the Book of Life and Death, roared to the sky, I have a page of the Book of Life and Death. Listen to my orders. Book of Life and Death. You are from the underworld. A loud voice resounded through heaven and earth. Okay, today I will make a move for the sake of the underworld. Chapter 59:25. A loud and clear voice rang out, causing everyone to be alarmed. Just what kind of existence did the Netherworld Sovereign summon? In the next moment, a palm appeared in the sky. There was a mysterious light blooming on that palm. As the palm slammed down, the whole world was shattering. Netherworld Sovereign sneered, and he also cooperated with this palm attack. At the same time, the ghost soldiers that he summoned in the surroundings were even more overwhelming. This kind of attack was too terrifying, enough to frighten any powerhouse. Even the powerhouses of the Goo family in the distance were pale. Fortunately, Toad now had the strength of a pseudo-emperor. He used his physique to block these auras. Together with the people of the Goo family, they cast Void Exile. Only by hiding in space did they manage to block this power. Toad shouted, Kid, do you need my help? No, I can handle it. You protect them. Okay. Toad nodded, because some of the ghost soldiers were rushing towards them. They were sent flying by Toad with a few slaps. However, more ghost soldiers rushed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. The powerhouse that was summoned was extremely terrifying. What kind of powerhouse was it? But this palm was too shocking, enough to shake the universe. Lin Xian used the Nine Suns God. Boundless divine fire and terrifying light enveloped the Yin soldiers and refined them. He waved his long sword, using a heaven-defying sword technique. The sword was like a dragon, colliding with the terrifying palm in the sky. It erupted with unparalleled power. He was hit so hard that he kept swaying. Netherworld Sovereign rushed to Lin Xian's back. It's useless, kid, you can't resist. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The power of his body tore apart heaven and earth, and he repelled Netherworld Sovereign. At this time, the big palm in the sky and the powerhouses summoned in the surroundings rushed over again, as if they would not stop until they were dead. Lin Xian was also angry. Dead people don't jump in front of me. 6 paths of reincarnation. Boom. The eye of reincarnation bloomed, and the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation appeared. The 6 paths of reincarnation swept across the 8 wastelands. At this moment, the Yin soldiers were reduced to ashes. The summoned masters also exclaimed, The power of reincarnation? No, damn it, who are you? The experts were enveloped by the light of the 6 paths of reincarnation and disappeared. All that was left was the terrifying giant hand in the sky. A loud voice rang out. Hell, who exactly are you going against? Why did he possess the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation? Even the Netherworld Sovereign was stunned. You actually have the Rinnegan. He sucked in a cold breath. He said, Don't worry, he only has 1 Rinnegan, and it seems that he has the 3 paths of heaven, earth, and man. Our underworld is not threatened by him. Only heaven, earth, and man. All right, I'll continue to attack. The terrifying palm fell mercilessly. Lin Xian shouted coldly, Samsara sword. The phantom of the reincarnation sword burst out and charged toward the terrifying giant hand. The terrifying hand was pierced through, and the light on it dimmed. Damn, did you cultivate Rinnegan to such a level? He was shocked. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The good show has just begun. Another sword slashed out. The immortal killing sword combined with the power of the great dragon sword soul slashed out. Heaven-defying sword technique, sword, Chi Galaxy. This sword, like the water of the Milky Way, swept out, turning into countless sharp small swords, piercing through heaven and earth. It completely tore apart the giant hand, making it unable to heal. This was the aura of the great dragon sword. The terrifying giant hand finally panicked. Hell, the deal with you is over. I won't attack again. After that, he quickly disappeared. You're not allowed to leave. The Netherworld Sovereign was also angry. Lin Xian's strength had exceeded his expectations. If it weren't for the giant hand, he might not have been able to withstand Lin Xian's attacks. He took out the page of the Book of Life and Death and said, I order you not to leave. The giant hand was also angry. Humph, who do you think you are? It's not the complete Book of Life and Death, just one page. You can't order me. Whoosh. After saying that, the big hand disappeared. It seemed that it had escaped very quickly. Damn it. The Netherworld Sovereign went crazy. Lin Xian also laughed. It seems that your supernatural power doesn't work. His eyes were full of disdain, but he was surprised. From the conversation just now, he learned that the Book of Life and Death should be a book, and the Netherworld Sovereign in front of him only had one page. Then who had the other pages? Moreover, this guy claimed to be from hell. Which hell was he from? Was it the hell that he knew? He sucked in a breath of cold air. The heavenly court, hell, and the human world, the three major assassin organizations. Among them, the heavenly court was known to be a force in the god realm. On one side, it was responsible for the sleeping great emperor. On the other hand, it trained some experts to assassinate the enemy. The human world was not clear about it. Who would have thought that the underworld would surface as well? Could it be related to the paragons? It was really surprising. It seemed that these great emperors and supremes had really set up too many tricks. But so what? Lin Xian pointed his sword forward and said in a deep voice, What other tricks do you have? Show them. Netherworld Sovereign gritted his teeth. He attacked again, summoning some ancient, resentful spirits. The broken souls charged over. Lin Xian's fist shattered everything. Reincarnation destroyed everything. And sword energy swept everything. Netherworld Sovereign spat out a mouthful of blood. He gritted his teeth, turned into black smoke, and disappeared between heaven and earth. Kid, just you wait. It won't end like this. You offended our supreme palace. You will die without a doubt. Want to run? Lin Xian struck out a few more times, and the invincible sword energy slashed over. In the void, there was a scream, and blood flowed down, piercing through the void. You're dead. Someone from the Supreme Palace will come soon. They won't let you go. Did he run away? The people of Santong Mansion were shocked. The dignified Supremes, the existence that swept the universe back then, were actually beaten away by Lin Xian. It was too unbelievable. Lin Xian's brows were tightly furrowed. What was the Supreme Hall? Wasn't the other party from hell? Why did another one appear? Supreme Palace? Do you know? Lin Xian turned around and looked at the people of the Gu family, as well as the Toad. The patriarch of the Gu family said, when the dark battle happened, the ancestors seemed to have said it. Behind the immortal Supremes, there was a huge force, and there was indeed more than one Supremes who attacked back then. But as for the force behind them, was it the Supreme Palace? We don't know. The Toad also shook its head. I'm not too sure either. Lin Xian, on the other hand, frowned. It seemed that the Void Emperor knew something back then. Could it be that there was a huge force behind these Supremes? The Supreme Hall? Judging from the name, it should be a force formed by gathering a group of Supremes. This shocked Lin Xian. If it really existed, then it was no weaker than the Nirvana realm. Even if it wasn't comparable to the Nirvana realm, it wasn't much different. After all, there was more than one great emperor in the Nirvana realm and more than one Supremes in the Supreme Palace. In addition, there was also a group of great emperors in the divine realm on their side. Lin Xian was shocked. Not only that, Dalong said, "You guessed right. The immortal supremes also belong to the Supreme Palace." However, back then, it wasn't a tripartite confrontation. There were other great emperors who formed forces. It was just that it was destroyed later. And the Nirvana realm snatched the eternal land and became even more terrifying. No one could compete with him. Chapter 59:26. There were so many secrets from the primordial age. Lin Xian was shocked. Who else could it be? De Long said, "Let me tell you something else. The Yuhua immortal dynasty used to be a giant, no weaker than the Supreme Palace." The Yuhua immortal dynasty? Lin Xian was shocked. The existence that wanted to ascend to immortality was indeed terrifying. However, no matter how terrifying it was destroyed. Was it done by the Otherworld Heavenly King? The Otherworld Heavenly King was too powerful. Didn't the others join forces? If the Supreme Palace, the realm of the gods, and the Yuhua immortal dynasty joined forces, they would be able to defeat the Otherworld Heavenly King. De Long said, "It's not as simple as you think. These emperors were all arrogant and unruly. Gathering them together was as difficult as ascending to the heavens." In addition, the Otherworld Heavenly King had the eternal land, which contained the secret to becoming an immortal. Even the other giants were jealous. Therefore, there were countless battles, betrayals, and conspiracies in the past. It was extremely complicated. But now, we've managed to occupy a city in the celestial land. If we can conquer the heavenly land, we'll have a chance. This time, we'll have a great chance of winning. Lin Xian took a deep breath. It seemed that he would have to go to the heavenly land after the Gu family's matter was settled. He had to help his father, Lord Alcohol, and the others to conquer the heavenly land as soon as possible. This way, they would have the capital to fight against the Otherworld Heavenly King. Moreover, he had the eternal land in his body. This time, they could definitely defeat the Otherworld Heavenly King. Let's go back. Lin Xian killed Shuiyuan Xiong and the others. The Shuiyuan clan had been destroyed. Gu Santong led his family back to the Gu family. They cultivated the emperor's ancient scripture. Lin Xian and the others returned to rest for a few days before moving out separately. On this day, before they even left, an invitation flew into the Santong residence. A loud voice came. The Elixir King was holding a banquet and invited the families of the second starfield. They had to come to the Elixir King Mountain in 3 days. Those who didn't come would be killed. The voice was loud and decisive. It made one's scalp tingle. When the people from Santong Mansion heard this, they immediately frowned. Gu Yanran was even angrier. "Humph, what pill king, he's too arrogant." Back then, when I asked for medicine for my father, not only did they refuse to give it to me, they even wanted to kill us. Gu Santong, Lu Ruoli, and the others had all heard of this matter. Thus, when he saw the invitation, his face turned cold. "Forget it, let's not bother with them. We have to return anyway." Gu Santong shook his head. However, Lin Xian sneered. "How can I ignore you?" "They're too arrogant. Although you've left, your residence is still here." What would they do to your residence? Indeed, the surrounding elders all had worried looks on their faces. Gu Santong said, "What do you mean?" Lin Xian said, "He tried to kill Yanran before. Yanran is my niece. I will avenge you. Let's go and take a look. What right does this pill king have to be so arrogant?" "That's right, to take revenge." Gu Yanran also waved her small fists. She was a kind person, but this time she was also very angry. If Lin Xian hadn't come before, she would have been killed by the people of Pill King Mountain. Therefore, she had to take revenge. Everyone set off for Pill King Mountain. Not only Santong Prefecture, but many families and sects in the Second Galaxy also received the invitation. Immediately, they all took action. No one dared to offend the Pill King. Pill King, Six-Crown King. He was very powerful, and his attainments in alchemy were even more terrifying. Also, he was from the deity ground. They didn't dare to offend him. Therefore, they had to give him face. Countless families and sects set off for Pill King Mountain. Pill King Mountain was very lively at the moment. Many families and sects had arrived. When they learned that not only them, but also some people from the deity ground had come, they were all stunned. These families and sects were all stunned. This Elixir King was incredible. I heard that his master is Nine-Crown King. He's also a terrifying existence in the deity ground. Therefore, these people would give him face. So that was the case. Nine-Crown King was an existence second only to great emperors. Countless people were envious. They wondered how many elites from the deity ground had come this time. The people of the King of Elixir Mountain were incomparably arrogant. Among them, a young woman said coldly, "Listen up. Later, if you see people from Santong Prefecture, immediately stop them and beat them up. Don't worry, senior sister. We understand." The surrounding guards' eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. The black-haired woman snorted. More than a dozen elites from Pill King Mountain had died before, and that was when Gu Yanran had arrived. There must be some relationship between the two. Therefore, they had to catch the people from Santong Prefecture and ask them. Whoosh! In the void, light flashed, and a group of people walked over. This time, most of them were young people. Those from the Gu family didn't come. After all, Lin Xian was enough to suppress everything. Lin Xian, Gu Santong, Lu Ruoli, and Gu Yanran. Other than them, there was no one else. Gu Yanran came to Pill King Mountain again with a complicated expression. She said, "These people from Pill King Mountain are very arrogant." Gu Santong also sighed. In order to save him, his daughter didn't hesitate to kneel and beg the people from Pill King Mountain. However, she was almost killed, which made him angry. The Crimson Dragon said, "Don't worry, we will avenge you." The group moved forward quickly. There were quite a lot of people. The toad looked around and sneered. "Stop, who are you? Do you have an invitation?" The guard in front shouted coldly. "We're not a place where anyone can come and go as they please. Open your dog eyes." The toad threw the invitation over. A guard caught it and took a closer look. It was people from Santong Prefecture. A trace of cold, murderous intent appeared in their eyes. "You're finally here. Kneel down obediently and surrender." It was this woman before. "You're from the Gu family. Why do you think more than a dozen elites from Pill King Mountain died?" Many people stared at Gu Yanran. Gu Yanran's expression changed. The toad slapped out with a slap. With his previous experience, he controlled his power and only shattered their bodies. He didn't kill them. These people screamed in the air. "How dare you attack us? Captain, come quickly." Soon, a group of people flew down from the Pill King Mountain. The leader of the group was clad in battle armor and wielded a spear in his hand, giving him an imposing aura. After he arrived, he shouted coldly, "Suppress the people of the Gu family." The surrounding array flickered, and the laws filled the air. The people of the other families and sects retreated. They were terrified. What's going on? Did Santong Prefecture offend Pill King Mountain? They're too reckless. Santong Prefecture is powerful, but it can't be compared with Pill King Mountain. I heard that the master of Santong Prefecture failed the tribulation. He's not dead yet. All kinds of discussions were heard. The guards of Pill King Mountain had already rushed over. "You want to suppress us?" The Crimson Dragon roared. The dragon's roar shook the sky, and the people around were shattered. The guards who came over were directly sent flying. They were torn apart and turned into a bloody mist. This scene shocked countless people. What a master! They're crazy. They're dead for sure. Chapter 59:27. This scene terrified countless people in the surroundings, and their scalps went numb. The people in the Elixir King Mountain also learned of this scene. The black-haired woman quickly brought people over. How dare you challenge the Elixir King Mountain? At this moment, Goose Santong walked out and said, I came here with an invitation. Is this how you treat your guests? How disappointing. As soon as he said this, some people began to discuss, yeah, the Elixir King Mountain is too overbearing. The black-haired woman snorted, You must be Goose Santong. You don't have the right to speak in front of us. They were extremely arrogant. Lin Xian raised his head and glanced at those people. Immediately, those people's souls trembled. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on them. They were so frightened that they fell to their knees with a plop. This scene was extremely shocking. The people around were shocked. Why are the people of the Elixir King Mountain kneeling? Lin Xian snorted, Unruly, I'll teach you a lesson. After that, he walked forward. Let's go. Goose Santong. And the others followed. This time, no one dared to block the way. Even the black-haired woman, and the others were stunned. When Lin Xian and the others disappeared, the black-haired woman roared, Damn it! How dare he make me kneel? I'll make him wish he was dead. You bunch of trash, help me up. The surrounding guards quickly helped the black-haired woman up, but no one dared to chase after Lin Xian. After all, that look just now almost killed them. This kind of person was too terrifying. The Elixir King sat in the grand hall of the Elixir King Mountain. In the middle of the hall, there was a cauldron surrounded by many people. These were all powerful people. They were either unparalleled masters, sect leaders, or clan leaders. As for the others, if their strength and status were slightly inferior, they were not qualified to be here. Moreover, even the powerful families and sects in the second galaxy were seated at the back, because those in front were all from the deity land. Among them, there were a few masters from the deity land. Their strength was unfathomable. The Elixir King patted the cauldron and said loudly, This time, the elixir I'm making is called the Nirvana Elixir. It could allow one to enter a state of nirvana while cultivating. This way, he would be able to deceive the heavenly Tao and easily break through. The moment these words came out, the other clan leaders all sucked in a breath of cold air. They all knew how terrifying it was to transcend a tribulation. For example, the Santong Mansion's mansion lord had failed the great sage tribulation. It was very miserable. If he had this nirvana pill, his chances of success would be greatly increased. Thus, how could they not be moved? Immediately someone laughed and said, Worthy of being called Dan King, your strength is indeed strong enough. Only a pill king would be able to concoct such a pill. How many nirvana pills had the Dan King refined? Countless people spoke one after another, all wanting to get a nirvana elixir. How could I miss out on such a good medicinal pill? At this moment, a loud and clear voice came from outside the main hall, clearly reaching everyone's ears. The surrounding experts were stunned. Who was it? They all turned their heads to look. Who dared to be so arrogant in the Pill King Mountain? The next moment, they saw a group of people walking over. These people looked unfamiliar. However, there was one person among them that they were extremely familiar with. Goose Santong. Wasn't that the mansion lord of Santong Mansion? That couldn't be right. Didn't they say that he failed the tribulation and had a slim chance of survival? Why was he here? I saw that he looked normal. His face was glowing, and he didn't seem to be injured. Is the legend true or not? Countless people frowned. The faces of the people of Pill King Mountain also darkened. They were about to explain the Nirvana pill. How could the other party interrupt them? Was he not giving them face? The Pill King gave a look, and immediately the Grand Elder of Pill King Mountain stood up. He shouted coldly, Who let you in? You unruly thing? Get out of here. With a wave of his sleeve, terrifying flames were released. They turned into a sea of flames, covering heaven and earth as they rushed over. The power of the flame was extremely terrifying, and it contained fragments of immortal chi. The surrounding people exclaimed. It was a power that surpassed a supreme saint. This was the power of a boundary emperor. As expected of the Pill King Pill, even the Grand Elder was a boundary emperor. The surrounding clans and sects were incomparably envious. At the same time, some people shook their heads. Gu Santong is dead meat. Gu Santong's face also changed. He was not a match for a boundary emperor yet, but he did not retreat, because a palm had already blocked in front of him. That palm, with a gentle slap, extinguished the sea of fire in the sky. The surrounding people were shocked. Heavens, who is it? Did someone make a move? It was a young man who broke the boundary emperor's flame with one palm. This young man is incredible. Could it be that he is also a boundary emperor? Countless voices of discussion rang out. The Grand Elder's face also darkened. Who are you? Are you with Goose Santong? Are you also going to go against Pill King Mountain? Lin Xian smiled. So what if I go against you? You are not qualified to talk to me. Get out of here. After saying those words, Lin Xian sent out a palm strike. You are courting death. The Grand Elder was angry and wanted to attack. However, how could he be a match for Lin Xian? A slap landed directly on his face and sent him flying. The Grand Elder's body shattered and turned into a bloody mist. He screamed in the air. This scene left countless people dumbfounded. The Pill King's face also changed. He stared at Lin Xian and said, Young man, you are playing with fire. Surrender, kowtow, and apologize, and I will give you a way out. Otherwise, you will not be able to walk out of this hall today. So arrogant, so domineering. Lin Xian snorted. He waved his hand and asked Gu Yanran to come to his side. This is my niece. Back then, she came here alone to ask for elixirs to save her father. Pill King Mountain. Not only did you not give her elixirs, you even wanted to kill her. Today, I want to ask, what is the reason for this? What reason? The Pill King sneered. She is just a little girl, like an ant. What reason do you need to kill her? As soon as he said this, the surrounding people's faces changed. Gu Yanran's face was even paler. This is too much. Lin Xian snorted. Do you mean that if you are powerful, you can crush and ignore everything? The Pill King snorted. Yes, young man, I know you are a boundary emperor and very powerful. However, this is not a place where you can behave atrociously. I have countless friends in my life. My elixirs have saved the lives of countless overlords. They will all help me. As long as I wave my hand, they will come out and make you suffer. Really? Then wave your hand and let me see. Lin Xian stood there and sneered. The Pill King was angry. Stupid thing. Well, today I will let you know the consequences of going against me. He turned his head and looked at the few overlords sitting high on the chairs behind him, friends from the deity ground. Thank you. There were 5 of them. They had powerful auras and were very noble, because they were from the deity ground. At this moment, the 5 of them stood up and walked forward. Oh my God, this kid is dead. Not only that, but Santong Prefecture is also finished. Santong Prefecture will be reduced to ashes. They are the overlords of the deity ground. One of them is the ancestral patriarch of the Heavenly Water sect. There is also the ancestral patriarch of the Rakshasa sect. All 5 of them are very terrifying. Countless people exclaimed. They all knew that Lin Xian was dead. Lin Xian raised his head and looked over as well. When he saw the 5 of them, he was stunned. When he saw the 5 of them, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.